Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 372. Kind of maybe a little bit of a crossover episode. I don't know, because we have two members of Game and Talk here. One who just kind of found her way on here because one of the topics kind of crosses over with Yacht Club. But we have Celia joining us tonight.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Good to have Celia here, and Josie. So these two from Game and Talk. Josie, how you doing?
I'm good. Happy to be back. Yeah. Game and Talk's a vibe. You guys should go check it out. The latest episode is a banger.
So, you said as you start laughing. What happened?
There's just some controversy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Good time. It was a good time.
Fun.
Okay. We have Ryan joining us tonight.
Hello. John, you didn't do music intros again for this.
I know. I should have done it. I should have just done the Wii music.
I can throw on the shop channel.
All right. See, I should just do that for intros. Just go down the list of intros with this music in the background.
Really good. We read super chats up with it on Game and Talk.
I feel like it works for anything. Like I think you can just put this behind anything that's happening and it'll work.
It's very versatile.
It goes with any Giles music. It goes with anything.
Anything. Just put it back there and just go, and you're good. Okay. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm all right. Now that the Wii Shop channel music's playing, I'm vibing.
Good.
We can run this the whole time.
At the PlayStation podcast launch, we've renamed it. Might rename it again. We don't know. Anything's possible.
No, we're not doing that.
I'm not making any more logos for that thing.
I just alter the logo slightly every week, and we rename it something else. So it'll be like click R6, and you just put like a little line there. But now it's click R3 now. I think that's a fun one. It's good. It's not confusing, I guess. Although Ryan was pretty disappointed, so
it wasn't confusing, John.
Well, you guys know there's a Click R3 podcast already, right?
Are you joking?
No, I'm just messing with you.
Ryan was real serious about that. He's like,
it was like, what?
Can't take names.
This is the name. This is the name. And I'm still very disappointed that many people did not know it was referencing the XMP.
Well, it's all right. It was still fun. Good episode. First episode, people liked it. So we'll continue on with Click R3, unless we get bored or we find out there's another podcast where we rename it again. We had some good ones. The one is going to be an entire segment in that podcast that we could not use, unfortunately, because it was kind of a run-on title, but it was really good. So it'll pop up in there. Ryan's gonna
horrible title.
He's gonna teach some people some stuff.
What do you? Oh, come on, man!
People will find out. It
rolls off the tongue.
I have put now, Ryan, 2.5 hours in the Sly Cooper, so I'm gonna play through this thing.
Well, that's like half the game. So
I know I'm getting there.
you say that like it's a 50-hour epic.
Hey, I'm rolling. I'm actually getting all the clues though in each one as well.
That's still a 5-hour game.
Okay, well. I felt accomplished until right now, so
I'm proud of you. Did you not finish it ever before? It's your first time, or?
No, I finished it back in the day on the PS2.
Okay, yeah.
I only played through it once. I only ever played through it once though.
Yeah, that's
so like
it
a long time ago. It feels like it was 20. Maybe like 18 years ago. So it was a long time. It was towards like the 360 had come out, and I had this year where I just played PS2 mostly, just going back and discovering all the games there. That like Rogue Galaxy, I think, was out around that time.
Right.
So I was mostly doing that, but I'm having fun with it. So, OJ, how we doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just hanging out. Good to be here. Had a good Spawncast pre-show. Watched The Boys. So it's fantastic.
Good couple episodes to start off with. I like
it's good. It's really nasty, but
well, it is. It is
really, really disgusting.
I mean, that's part of their thing.
This one was like, I wouldn't say the worst, but it was pretty nasty.
Everyone should make sure they watch that with their parents. And on eye contact with them while it's all happening.
It's pretty nasty.
Don't look up what it is. Just go ahead, just watch it.
Is it worse than other episodes, like same level, or is it like did they go to new levels?
They always try to kick off a season with something completely fucked up.
Yeah, last season was probably worse because it was more unexpected what happened and like the graphics they used. But this season it was like you wouldn't expect the person that did what they did to do what they did. So it was just kind of funny in that, or not funny, it was nasty. It was just this, I was just like, oh my God, let me just look that up.
Okay. Thank you for the warning, because I was planning on watching it tonight. And,
Yeah. It wasn't as crazy as like, cause like, I guess we can say season 3's spoiler, right?
The explosion.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say the explosion. the inside explosion.
That's the worst.
Yeah, that was the worst. That's the worst. So,
Mhm.
so yeah, it wasn't quite as bad as that, but this one was pretty nasty.
Okay, same ballpark.
Good setup though, plot wise for this season. I'm interested. Otherwise,
Oh, yeah,
outside of that, yeah. So
Yeah, plot setup is really good for the season, so I'm looking forward to it.
Evan, how we doing over there?
Doing all right.
Good to have Evan here. A lot of stuff hitting Steam. I don't know if any of it's catching your eye, but Steam Next Fest happened. Didn't know if anything on there you saw that you wanted to check out. A lot of demos too.
Yeah, I think there were a couple things. I just got to remember what their titles were, honestly.
That test drive game got a demo. I didn't realize it until like yesterday, and it's gone in 2 days. So there you go. But that's good to have Evan here. Can we cut the music? We can cut the music if we did. We good? Okay, good.
I was like, I'm like, am I tripping? Am I hearing the Me Creator music right now? Like,
It is.
It was. It's calm down.
it came in so slowly. I didn't know.
I was
that
trying
real.
to transition it like a DJ, where it's just like
It was
one
good, it was
fade
good.
into the other.
We should have
Joe.
pretended not to hear it, but it's fine.
Tonight we're talking about the Xbox Game Showcase. Even though it happened Sunday, that was technically the day after our last show. So we'll go through. I have all the stuff written down here, so we'll go through them and pick out some of the highlights. We have. I wanted to point this out because going into this week, there are a lot of rumors around a Nintendo Direct, an anniversary Nintendo had that. It still hurts, but we gotta face this one. And then Gorilla did talk, Ryan, about the Lego Horizon stuff. I think what we said on the podcast aged actually pretty well based on what they said. We had Dragon Age: The Veilguard, some gameplay that hasn't gone over well, Ubisoft Forward, and we were preparing for Elden Ring, the DLC. So a lot to get to here. But I did want to start here with Celia, who joined us tonight because we do have some Yacht Club game stuff happening here.
Yeah, so our 10th anniversary presents, which is like the Yacht Club Games version of like a Nintendo Direct or like a PlayStation Showcase or whatever. And like the main focus of it was celebrating the 10th anniversary. We started with talking about like our DLCs because we have a bunch of free DLC coming out with Shovel Knight Dig. It's Wicked Wishes. It's okay. So that one's Fade Fortune. We did a recap before of like, this is DLC 1 if you missed it before. And then we like went on to DLC 2, which is coming out this summer. And I like that pack. It's more of the adventurous, like fun one. That's Pocket Dungeon. So the other DLC, it's so hard to queue up to this, man. But basically, yeah, so we announced that's coming this summer. We also announced Pocket Dungeon has more DLC that's coming this summer. It's the Paradox Pack. That one's fun. There's new characters, new levels, new challenges, blah, 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 blah. My cat's in it, Mr. Schmutz. We needed a secret character, and it just, as a joke, I was like, oh, my cat would be great for that. And then we put it in, and that was really cool of them. He's really fun to play with. He's really fast. So yeah, that's Pocket Dungeon. But like for other announcements,
Wait a minute.
Oh, there's me. Whoa, who's that guy?
Guy.
I announced, like, I don't know, silly little buddy. I don't know, gal. I don't know. Yeah, we announced a T-shirt. That was really cool. So basically, for like my section, we announced new merchandise partners. We love shelling Shovel Knight into as many products as possible. Case in point. And we announced live events, cafe pop-up. We're doing a live panel with Giant Robot. We have a bunch of merch coming out with Fan Gamer, new plush with Symbiote. Like we announced so many different licensing things that we're doing. Event refeaturing with For Honor. That we're doing something with Brawlhalla for their 10th anniversary, but that's something to talk about later. And we also announced that Shovel Knight's coming back to Fall Guys. So that's like the merchandise side of things. But like for more like announcements, we gave an update about Mina the Hollower.
Yeah, that people were asking about this in the chat just now.
Yeah. Okay. So we didn't give a release date, but we showed a ton of never before seen footage. We've been pretty quiet since like we've been pretty deep in development with Mina. If you aren't familiar with Mina, it's our new IP that we've been working on. It's basically it's our love letter to the Game Boy Color, but it's basically a top-down Souls-like Zelda. Like, that's the best way to describe it. This game is lit. I legitimately get really sad when I have to put down the controller because they're like, okay, Celia, like that's enough. Like, I'm just checking out the game. It's been really, really fun. We're finishing up the last level in the game. So now we're going to be more focusing on polishing the game, working with mechanics, smoothing things out. So like, I do foresee another trailer coming out in the near future. When that is, I can't tell you. Also, Alec did this live action like bit in this. We had filmed a normal version of him talking, and he's like, "Hey Celia, can I do something weird?" And I was like, "Okay, please don't stress me out." And he was like, "It's fine, I'll show you." And then like a week before, or like a week and a half before the presents, he's like, "Look what I showed you. Like, this is what I made." And I'm like, this is special. I think it's hilarious. I want to do a side by side of like this and like the normal clip and like air it one of these days. And then like besides Mina, we announced Shovel of Hope DX, which is a technical, like, it's like, you know, it's a deluxe version of the original game. What's cool about it is, you know, it's the original Shovel of Hope adventure, but we added a ton of features. There's 20 playable characters to the game, all with unique abilities. One of the reasons that we did that is A, it's really freaking cool. B, when we announced the original Shovel Knight, basically we let the Kickstarter fans know, like, hey, we're going to make campaigns with different characters. Which one should we pick? And all the fans basically, you know, they knew nothing about Spectre Knight or Plague Knight or any of the characters. So it basically was a crapshoot of like who they liked better, that like of what they looked like. So we made all the characters playable, and it is incredible. It's so fun to fly around as the Enchantress. It feels wrong, but it feels right. You can play as Mona. We'll announce the full lineup of characters later, but it's like a different platforming experience. We also announced that we're finally doing online multiplayer. So you'll be able to play it on, you know, all the platforms we haven't announced yet online. And it's going to be really cool. We also brought back a bunch of legacy features from consoles of yesteryear, like the stereoscopic 3D was something that was just locked into 3DS.
Right.
And we made sure to future-proof a lot of the things that we really enjoyed about the game. And it's to make sure that Shovel Knight's there forever and ever. So yeah, it's currently in development. We don't have a release date as of yet, but we'll make a whole lot of noise about it once we have it. But it's really cool. And like, if people haven't checked out Shovel Knight, I think this is a great game to like give, you know, be the entry level into the Shovel Knight series. But
it's classic.
Yeah, and it's going to be awesome. I'm so stoked to play this. And then lastly, whoa, go back to that. Go back to Sean again. Like, the last thing that we hinted at the end of our presents was like, what is coming for Shovel Knight?
Yes, people were asking about this.
Logo mean? Oh my gosh! Whoa!
The 3D one, the one spinning around in 3D space.
Yeah, so basically we announced that we're entering Shovel Knight into a new dimension. I wonder what dimension? And it's a mainline game. It isn't going to be just another sequel because we're putting so much love in story, and I can't delve into it yet, but it is so cool. And like, I know I can't show you guys with the game or any more details about it, but like, I teared up when I saw it. Also, this is us hinting at things we've put in our other games that hints towards the game. So we're hinting at a lot of things in here if anyone wants to find Konma that later. But it's going to be incredible. Like, I can't wait to show you guys, and it's going to be the best. So yeah, that was our presents. That's why I'm so tired. Oh my God, I've been working on that presents for so long.
Yeah, I will say a lot of people were trying to figure out what that logo that was spinning and other things about what you guys were working on. So that sounds, I mean, just based on what you're hinting at, sounds pretty exciting. Sounds quite the undertaking there to transition potentially to 3D. So
it's incredible. But you know, I'll confirm more things at a later date.
Okay. You let us know especially when Mina the Howler gets the big release date. People are real curious about that.
You know, honestly, me too. But it's one of those things where, like, our team, like, you know, we keep things in development until we feel like they're ready. And when it's ready, you know, we hit the ground running, you know, spreading the good word of our Yacht Club Games to everyone as soon as we can. I really wish we announced the code name for the new game because it's so hard to be like, I'm so excited for Redacted.
Oh, right. You can't even really call it anything. That's true.
I can't even call it
Yeah.
anything. Our hint from the future.
Well, that's cool. That's exciting, though. That's exciting. That's exciting stuff. So we'll keep an eye on that. Like I said, Mina, though, I'm on that day one. So just let us know. Let us know when it's time.
Yeah, of
Very
course.
excited
And
for
until
Mina.
then, thank you so much. Everyone should wishlist the game because it really helps the developers. Even if you don't want to buy it on Steam, wishlisting on Steam like helps out.
So wish listing does help. Wish listing is like a stat that's tracked heavily.
Yeah, no, it really does.
Huh.
And it's like one of those things like when you're in conversations, I don't know how much I can talk about this or not, but when you're in conversations for certain things, wish list is something that gets asked about, whether that be, with platforms or be with merchandising or anything you're prepping up for a launch. It just helps gauge the interest and what kind of deals you can do. So please wish list it. And also wish list DX, please. It's up on Steam right now.
Okay. Good stuff. Thanks,
Yeah.
Celia. I guess that's like I've been saying, Celia, Josie, they're over on Game and Talk, so you can hear Celia and Sean go back and forth.
Argue.
This podcast. Gosh. Yeah.
Just last time. It's usually pretty
Oh my
chill.
God. I'll fight him again. Don't worry.
I think you should.
But that's awesome. That's good. That's good to see it all came together well. I know those things are stressful right up until the end, so that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
just a tad.
Let me go over to there's a lot with this. Okay.
Oh,
Xbox showcase. And I know, Celia, you're saying you're tired obviously after this week of everything that's going on. So anytime you have to pop out, it's fun.
Yeah, I'll try to stay on as long as I can, but like my caffeine's wearing off. It's like 6 p.m. So
Well, we did have the Xbox game showcase on Sunday, like I said, the day after the last podcast that we did, and it was a show. It went about an hour and a half, I think, something like that, hour 20, and they showed off a lot. Now there are some pretty strong reactions to this show, and just as a quick like overview of this, like bird's eye view, how did everyone feel about just everything that was shown there, the flow of it, just in general compared to maybe some of their previous ones? Because I guess we would consider this their E3 showcase. I mean, they kind of have done it themselves at their own, like they have their own little convention hall and stuff that they do this stuff at. So it's pretty much been status quo for them even this year. But like compared to previous years, what did everyone think of it?
I thought
Very
it was
good.
fantastic.
Okay, you thought it was fantastic, Josie. You thought it was really good, Ryan.
Well, I mean, I would say fantastic. Yeah.
Okay.
We kind of touched on this during our PlayStation podcast, but it was a matter of like, that was one of their best shows, right? And like arguably ever. It was great pacing, just firing off game, new IP, a lot of great third-party partners, but you're seeing that Xbox Game Studios lineup. Also seeing them bearing the fruits of all those acquisitions recently, getting release windows, release timelines. I mean, then finishing off with Gears, right? I mean, even though there's no gameplay for Gears, it's just great to see Gears is back. I mean, I think they fired off on every cylinder.
It was great. That was the best show that they've ever done. Like, I don't recall an Xbox show. I think that it's one thing for like Xbox fans to say, oh, that was the best show, right? But then it's another thing for like people that aren't so hardcore in it. And everybody else was saying, yo, this is like their best show, right? So I think that kind of speaks to how well the show was. For me, at least, I loved what I saw. Expedition 33, that was a great reveal. It's multi-plat, but great reveal for that. I loved finally get something on Fable next year for Fable. They intertwined gameplay pretty seamlessly with that. That was super cool. Perfect Dark. I think Perfect Dark, it's Perfect Dark. So let's hopefully once it comes out, it's great. There's no release date, but yeah, I have to agree with what Ryan says, man. I was very impressed with the pacing, very impressed with the game shown. And even though I'm probably not going to play everything, I think that it was a good show overall. A lot of Game Pass stuff too. So if you're into Game Pass, I'm not a Game Pass person, but if you're into that, man, you've got, you know that you've got stuff coming up, you know?
I feel like I'd have to go back to the 360 era to find a show that was like this. Like this was really good. And it does help that they also have Bethesda, ZeniMax, Activision, and then Blizzard, then Microsoft Studios.
Mm-hmm.
So they do have a lot that they can go to, and they can pack an hour and a half pretty easily now from what we're seeing.
Yeah, that Doom game looks awesome.
Doom
like,
the Dark.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So really they started off with Call of Duty, but like we already knew about Call of Duty. That is pretty straightforward. We get that every year. Black Ops 6, October 25th. But you're right. Doom, the Dark Ages that we just saw right there looks awesome. That I heard that was going back to medieval times. I'm like, how's that going to work exactly? And I mean, it looks like it's still kind of Doom, just with a different sort of aesthetic, art style. And
it looks like a mod, bro. I'll keep it. It looks like somebody was like, "Yo,
yeah, like a Skyrim mod."
Yeah, I'm gonna make this for like Skyrim Doom or something. He's got like a fur coat. Oh no, he's in the Dark Ages now. I got a fur coat.
It looks super creative, like the way that they got the weapons to basically meld into these times where you have like the skull that gets chewed up and then it shoots bits and pieces all over the place like a machine gun. The shield that spins around, you're flying on dragons. It seems like there's a lot of thought gone into how can they still keep sort of that Dark Ages aesthetic, but also still make it Doom. So it looks awesome. Like I'm excited for that. 2025. So not too bad next year. And they had this all over the place. Game Pass, play it day one with Game Pass. It was constant in this show. So I think they got the marketing on Game Pass down pat for this showcase.
Yeah, they do. I'm gonna re-up my Game Pass subscription when some of that starts coming out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what about with I might as well ask for this now. So we just had a trailer. What about for Call of Duty? Are you gonna re-up for Call of Duty?
I think I probably will.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not a big Call of Duty person, but if I
up your hard drive too while you're at it.
I know. Well, that's my Series S also probably has I think it's like the least amount of storage, and it might be like 250 or something.
You even got enough to get the whole experience. You need like 300 gigabytes.
They have they have all the Call of Duties on there in that app. If you install, I think Black Ops 6, if you just do that one in Warzone, it's like 130 gigabytes or something. But if you want,
that's good.
Yeah, well, hey, yes. But if you want the other Call of Duties, it ends up being like over 300. So yes, that's and we haven't even talked about if they do continue to expand that app, because that app just keeps getting bigger and bigger every single year. Then, so next year another 100 will be thrown on. Basically, in another 6 years, this thing will be about a terabyte if it continues on this path.
They're just gonna sell like you just get a Call of Duty box. Literally, it's just Call of Duty on the hard drive. Like that's it. You just get it. You just plug and play Call of Duty. I would not be surprised if that was a thing one of these days.
Hey, I mean, they could probably make a case for selling like a 1 terabyte external drive you plug in with all the Call of Duty games, and it's like $200 or something. They could probably make that work.
People would buy it for sure.
Oh yeah. State of Decay 3 was shown next. Let me see if I can get that up here. Okay. State of Decay 3 is unfortunately a game that I don't really care much about myself. State of Decay 1, I liked on the 360. Didn't really care for the second one. So I don't know if the third one's going to pull you back in. Maybe it can surprise me, but they at least had it reappear.
Yeah, it's good.
It had been it disappeared for so long.
Yeah, it's good to see it finally come back. I'm not a State of Decay person, but I like to watch people like stream games like this. So I'll probably watch people stream it.
Oh, then they had
gory games.
Oh, you can't do gore. Interesting.
You like
gory games.
You're excited for Doom.
Yeah, but it's like so cartoony that it's different.
Huh?
I feel that.
Yeah, it is kind of over the top, huh? So it's like you just hit these demons, they go flying, 2 stories up in the air.
Yeah.
Dragon Age Veilguard had an appearance here, which we'll get to here later on with how that's gone. Starfield Shatter Space DLC, it's out later this year. They didn't have release date for it, which is kind of odd. Fallout 76 Skyline Valley, that's already came out June 12th. And then we had, and this is a game that people are very excited for, is Expedition 33 Claire Obscure. Yes. Expedition 33.
Super excited.
This is an interesting one because to me it's kind of presented. Let me see if I can find it. It's kind of presented a new way to look at turn-based RPGs all of a sudden. It the way that they have the battle system set up and the camera angles, and it is kind of that action-based turn-based where you have reaction times, you'll hit buttons and stuff depending on what's happening on the screen, and you'll maybe do more damage or dodge or block or counter better. The way that they have it set up is super dramatic with some of the camera angles, and it makes it look very frantic despite you still taking turns and picking from a menu system. So that's the thing that really caught my eye. And this is developed. It seemed like the studio behind it it's their first games. This is a debut game for them, and it seems like the people leading the studio are like ex Ubisoft employees or developers.
Yeah, there's Ubisoft and some other places, but the biggest thing is that they're huge fans of a lot of the awesome JRPGs that we've gotten over the years, from Persona, Golden Sun, which is a little bit older, Pokemon. They've pretty much drawn a lot of them expertise, or at least just like inspiration, more like it, from those games, and you can totally tell. The funniest thing about this game, John, is that we were all watching it, and we were all just kind of like, oh, this might be like a Skyrim thing, or like something, it'll go into first person, like new IP, something like that. Then all of a sudden we saw the battle system and everybody was like, what the hell is this? We got so excited once we saw the combat in here, and I'm very excited for this game. Seems like there's a ton of interest too, because anytime when I posted tweets, like the tweets were blown up. People were really interested in this game, so I'm very excited for it, and it's coming out next year. At some point. Don't know when, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it quite a bit, just because of the developers too, what they said that they like, the games that they said that they like, so it's awesome. It's on Game Pass for those who have Game Pass. So.
Game Pass day one, yeah, it's like
it's on PS5 too. It's on PS5.
Wait, question. Yeah. They mentioned that they liked Persona. Like,
yes.
That's one of their. Did they mention that it was one of the game's inspirations?
Yes. They said that they looked at Persona, they looked at Golden Sun, they looked at a lot of the classic turn-based RPGs out there and tried to, put their own influence on evolving the JRPG formula. It's not a JRPG, obviously they're not Japanese, but the gameplay style is clearly, inspired by the best Japanese RPGs out there. Mario and Luigi, stuff like that, like active time battle. These are the things that they were looking at. Final Fantasy, they said they looked at, obviously they're big Final Fantasy fans. Okay. So yeah, but I think it's going to be a different type of game. It's not going to be like a carbon copy of Persona. I don't think they're going to have like the social link stuff. And
I wanted that.
Yeah.
That's why I asked. I love Persona. I'm 100% social link run person. So you said that and I like perked up and I'm like, okay, I want to date some like everyone in the game.
No, because their story
I'm talking about.
Their story's a bit somber. They're all gonna die like very soon if they don't beat this person. Every year it's a countdown. Every year there's a countdown, and there's some mysterious painter entity, and she paints a number, and it counts down. And every year somebody that age just fades away, turns into like petals. So this is the third expedition to try to go there to take out this person. So hopefully they're successful. They might not be. Might be Expedition 32.
Creative story.
Yeah, it might be Expedition 32. But it reminds me of Mass Effect too. Like Mass Effect also has like this you against some type of insurmountable thing, and you don't know why they're doing like the Reapers, right? I loved setups like that with games.
Isn't that how you would go to the next one? You said the 33rd or third expedition, 33rd expedition?
Yeah.
You just keep counting, like you're just like, okay, this is the next expedition. That's how you just keep the sequels flowing.
You could, but obviously the game has to be successful. But yeah, you could do it, or you could go into like, let's say like a prequel, like a separate expedition that happened before where you're going to lose. Like, that's how Torna was. Torna just was destroyed in Xenoblade, but you still play the game and it was cool. But that everybody's gonna die pretty much, right? Or most people are gonna die. So they could do something like that too, where like you're gonna lose, but it'd be cool to see what happened in a different expedition. So yeah, I'm down. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna keep an eye on then, because it looks like really, really creative.
Yeah, that was my favorite game of the show by far for me.
If they add dating to that game, it could be a banger.
If they had what?
Dating. Like a dating.
I want that so badly.
I don't want the dating.
Listen, it can be an optional thing, but that's the best part about Stardew Valley. It's the only reason I play Stardew Valley.
I can see like social links. Like social links are like Mass Effect has social links. you can date.
No, I want to date them. I want to give them gifts.
Yeah, date, court, marry.
Yeah, and then you can date multiple of them, and it's just doing
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do that, but
sounds like a lot of work.
It'd be cool.
You got to be able to date all of them, and then Valentine's Day has to show up in the game, so you can get punished.
And then you get the
afterwards.
really cool scene. You don't get that where it's all of them if you don't do 100% social link run.
Mass Effect is a bit more. You never played Mass Effect like with the dating thing because you go the extra step, man. You get to go all the way in Mass Effect.
You can woohoo like in The Sims.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Oh
wait,
yeah,
it's like The Sims.
I mean, they don't show it, but in every Mass Effect game, there's sex scenes where you could just whoever you want. Bam.
Actually, there was a game in this Xbox showcase, and I was streaming it, and I don't remember what game it was, but it was crazy. They had like this interesting shot in the trailer. I don't know if it'll come up.
Go on.
I was shocked. I was streaming this, and I was like, "Is this allowed on YouTube?"
I don't remember what that was or what that is.
It's stuck in my mind because it was so shocking to me that that's in a thing. Because I usually just watch the Nintendo Directs, and that's nowhere near those.
Same.
I'm wondering what game is this.
I might have to get it. Oh,
We
that
had
game
South-
looks really cool.
South of Midnight. Yep, we have South of Midnight next, and I do like the art style for this one quite a bit. They're also doing this thing here with the cutscene where it's like a lower frame rate. It almost feels like they're pushing it down to, I don't know, like 24, maybe just 20 frames. And they're trying to get a certain look to it. Is from what I'm gathering here. But then they did like the combat, and I wasn't. People seem happy with the combat. I'm not as sold on. I do like the traversal though. Like I feel like the environment around your character, things changing with the seasons or like the environments are really cool. The combat looks okay. I feel like there's going to be a lot more to it just based on some of the stuff they did show. So I'm interested in South of Midnight. I am. It's different than what I was expecting. 'Cause this is Compulsion.
It's a pretty big step up from We Happy Few, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks, yeah, definitely. When I heard that was the other game, I was like, oh, I played We Happy Few. That game was in first person. This one looks a lot different. I mean, the combat looks okay. I'll have to see more of it. It's a new IP, so but it looked all right from what they shown.
Yeah, like stuff like this where you defeat the enemy there, and then all of a sudden the season starts to kind of like the landscape around you starts to change. Like that stuff could be really cool later in the game. But Evan, you played We Happy Few, didn't you?
A bit, yeah. It was enjoyable.
Okay.
It was kind of Bioshock-ish.
This looks very different from what like their previous style. Then
No, yeah, it's good that they're trying stuff. I think
different.
what the animation was because Spider-Verse was blowing up, right? And this was getting announced around that time, so it's kind of close to it visually. It's what they were.
Oh yeah, in
for.
terms of art, yeah, art style,
Yeah.
kind of the creativity around it, yeah. But it's, I mean, I think it looks interesting. So I'll be keeping an eye on that one too. That's good because Compulsion, I'll admit the We Happy Few stuff kind of lost me a bit. So this looks genuinely different and interesting. So better than trying to remake Bioshock again or something weird.
Yeah, I think this is like one of my favorites of the whole presentation. It just looks really cool. And I like that it looks different visually because I feel like a lot of games are falling into this just hyper realism thing. And it's nice to like see an actual art style.
Yeah, I still believe that trying to make games look super realistic just doesn't age well over time. Like I think having like a unique art style that's very different is like that's why I think if you go back now and look, cell shaded stuff tends to hold up better than people trying to make things look super realistic even 5 or 6 years ago.
It also just doesn't seem as generic. Like sometimes a lot of those will like be trailer after trailer and they just kind of blend together, at least in my head. So
like where it's Unreal Engine.
Yeah, it's like the same. I'm like, okay, this is another game where you shoot things and you have a realistic art style.
We had World of Warcraft stuff. I have not been in World. Oh, Evan. Okay. You like World of Warcraft?
I stopped playing after the third expansion. This is just another expansion. That's all.
Their cutscenes are they do a really good
These
work.
are the old cutscenes. It's just old cutscenes. And then they moved to the new cutscenes.
Yeah, I'm saying, but their cinematic work, above all else, is very good. I will give them that.
That was always.
And then they show the game, and I'm like, well, that was fun.
Yeah. 30 polygon characters running around. It's like, oh yeah.
I remember this game from high school. I just have not been into World of Warcraft in a long, long time. So, and even when people are into World of Warcraft, they'd fall in and out of it constantly, and you'd see the person come back to GameStop and buy the 60-day card after like 4 or 5 months. So like I tried some other stuff and I'm back. So that's how it worked. But hey, World of Warcraft fans, I'm sure you're very excited. It's good stuff. We did have Metal Gear Solid Delta as well, which it's so strange because it looks at times I think it looks like really, really good, and then other times they show like an animation that looks like it's from the PS2 version. I'm like, that seems kind of weird, but they do say it's still a work in progress, so we'll see. People are still unsure what to think about this game right now.
I thought it is using the PS2. Didn't they say that they're going to be using like the PS2 animations and all that?
Yeah, the audio I think is the same. They've kind of tried to remaster it, I feel like, a little bit, but it just, some of it just seems like it doesn't quite line up with how good the visuals look at times. But I think
the instant 180 turn I think that he does in this trailer.
Parts of it just it looks really good, and then it's like, oh wait, that kind of looks like what I remember, kind of the jankiness from the PS2. So it's Konami is behind it, still obviously funding it. I will see when it comes out. But if it's just Metal Gear Solid 3 looking significantly better, then it should be a good game. Like Metal Gear Solid 3 is an awesome game, so it should be. But they did put up a special edition without the release date. So it's very weird. It's like a $200 special edition, and no one knows when it comes out. So it's very, very Konami.
If someone hasn't played a Metal Gear Solid game, would you say this is a good entry point, or nah?
It's an entry point.
I still think this works so well because you have those first two that are already out and you've played them. Like, 'cause there's so many obviously references and they're going backwards in the series and like explaining things that happened before. I still think the best introduction is with just the first one. Unfortunately, it's not like you can access it, but it's not like this where it's been redone and it looks awesome. They have like Twin Snakes on the GameCube, but that one kind of gets made fun of by a lot of the hardcore fandom because it's kind of ridiculous at times. And it's probably still that PS1 version, but we need a remake for Metal Gear Solid 1. We do.
The problem is if you play this and then you fall in love with just the modern updated quality of life controls, then you're going to really dislike going to 1 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah, you kind of will.
That's at least what I assume that's what would probably happen for a lot of folks jumping in the first time.
You could probably get away with playing Twin Snakes on the GameCube, but there's some weird stuff that happens in that game that's a little off. If you get the Master Collection, unfortunately, the quality isn't great necessarily, but it is access to all these games, and it's been pretty cheap. Like, it's been marked down, I think 50% multiple times the last couple weeks. Whereas like $25 for the Master Collection.
Got to set aside a lot of time though, and like energy to play those games because the stories. It's confusing. I mean, like, listen, I love Metal Gear Solid, but the story is completely confusing too as well. So like, it's like Kingdom Hearts and like Metal Gear are having a tug of war. Who has like the most confusing multiple 20, 30 year saga between the two of who can be more confusing. But yeah, once you play the games and like you watch some videos that explain exactly what happens, it's pretty cool, you know?
Okay. Yeah,
that was really like the characters.
Yeah, but every time that I beat I played the Metal Gear games as they came out, and every time I don't know what the hell happened. Like, I legitimately don't know what the hell happened. I just enjoyed the games.
I mean, I got the idea, but they did throw you through a loop a few times with some
I didn't know what the hell was. Yeah, you get an idea, but you still don't know what the hell's happening overall. And then I watched the timeline.
The ending for 3 is so good. It's so good. The ending for 3.
Ending for 4 is incredible. Ending for 4 and 3 are both.
Yeah,
really,
but
really
3
good.
has like that moment of reflection after like the credits are rolling. You're like, oh, well, that's you can't really say it because it would legitimately ruin this game right here for anyone who hasn't played it. But there is it's good. It's very impactful. I will say that, and it makes you actually think about like things happening in real life. It's very interesting. Like Kojima was. If you play the second one now, the second one has aged incredibly well. Like some of the plot points in there will actually have you like looking around like, ooh, this happened. This was made 20 years ago or something, 22 years ago, and it is still very close to accurate. Also, he got it running at like the Kojima and all that. They got it running at 60 frames per second on the PS2, Metal Gear Solid 2. So It is very impressive. Yeah. But I would start with the first one, Celia, and then work up from there.
Yeah, I grew up with Nintendo consoles, so any PlayStation focused thing.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, I would Yeah, if you get the Master Collection for cheap, that'll technically get you set up because you'll have 1, 2, 3, and the MSX ones are on there. Yeah, but you just start with the first 3 really, and technically this one will be out next year anyway. So
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Let me know if you like them, Celia, because maybe I'll try them too.
Okay.
didn't I? I thought I recommended the first one to you, Josie.
You did. I just don't know, John.
It's on the Switch now. It's on the Switch.
I don't
can
think
play
it's a
it right
Josie
there.
type of game, to be honest.
I like really tried my best with Final Fantasy VII, and I don't know, and some of the other ones, and I just feel like I don't know.
At
Well,
what
Metal
point
Gear's
did you
different,
stop at
though,
Final
yeah.
Fantasy VII, Josie?
Like right in the beginning. I didn't even give it much of a chance.
Oh.
But
I did too. It's fine.
Yeah, that hurts.
I
It
know,
just
I'm
took
sorry,
too
chat.
long.
But there's
It's
there's kind of dating, kind of.
It's
Really?
hilarious because we just heard you guys talk about dating for like 5 minutes, and there's like a massive love triangle on Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
can
get
you
to, like,
dictate
you get
that?
to go on a
Can
date.
Can you form
Yes.
your own love triangle?
You technically decide who you go on a date with in the game. Yes.
Kind of.
Okay.
If you're playing the original, it's got this really obscure like affection point system in the background. So it annoyingly you do have to pay attention to like dialogue options to get the date character that you want, but you can get a date. And oh, it is a fun scene to play out.
There.
I think. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, silly.
Oh, okay. So I think my issue with Final Fantasy VII is that it came out when I was a kid. I didn't get to play it because it didn't come out on N64 also, obviously. But since it's been so iconic and like cemented in like video game history, I know everything about the game. There is no surprises for me. I've seen cutscenes of the scenes in full polygon rendering or even in the new one as well. So like I think when I was playing it, I just had no desire to play it because I already know what happens. There's no surprises.
You know what happens at the end of disc 1.
Yeah, and like I know how the game ends in general, and you know,
Josie
there's
does.
no twist.
Yeah, same thing with Celia, I'd say.
We're just taking that excuse now.
I think
I
if you get
can't
to the
give
end
my
of-
opinion because I get attacked every time. So
I think if you got to the end of disc 1 and let a certain scene play out, I think you changed your mind on it. I think so.
how many hours is that though?
I mean, if Final Fantasy VII, if you just mainline it, I feel like people overinflate how long the game is. I don't think it's.
No,
People will be like, "Oh, it's 50 hours." No, that's not that long.
I just
It's,
did the platinum for that game like 5 years ago on like the PS4, like what was it, the mobile or Steam port or whatever. The platinum came out to like 40 hours. So if you just kind
That's
of
everything, yeah.
do a little bit of extra stuff, I mean, you can definitely come in like 25, 30 hours probably.
End of disc 1 is probably like a solid 10 hours.
All right.
End of disc 1. Well, it won't tell you end of disc 1, but you'll know there'll be a major thing that happens. And you're like, oh, okay, that's where it would fade out and say. But that's the crazy thing is at the end, I remember afterwards it'd be like, it'd fade out and be like, insert disc 2. It's like, man, I got to get up now. Okay.
Plus, you can fast forward battles and turn off random encounters. It's like the modern port is like a super easy way to like sort of value your time if you're also like kind of time crunch.
Okay.
They're not going back to it. It's over. They're not. They're done.
I mean, I have it, so I might as well try to beat it, but I just.
There's too many games coming. Too much. Not enough time.
Yeah, that's true.
Just make sure, I'll give you some advice, Josie. Make sure, so who did you have in your part? Did you get like through the train part in the beginning?
Sort of.
Okay.
You know,
well,
I
when
don't
you're
even
going
really
through in like the beginning of the game, you're going to get obviously a couple of different characters. You can change your party out. I would say make sure you have Cloud and Barrett leveled up, and definitely make sure you level up Aerith completely as much as you can. Just
Yeah.
completely max them out. Okay. So they're set up.
Okay.
And you should have a pretty easy run the rest of the game.
All right.
Let me go to Sea of Thieves, season 13. We'll come back to Sea of Thieves. We'll come back to Sea of Thieves. Then we have Flintlock. I feel like we've seen Flintlock before. That's July 18th. That's also Game Pass. There's Flintlock. Yep, there we go. And Age of Mythology Retold. That's September 4th. Okay, Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark is, for me anyway, I want to say it's my game of the show because we hadn't seen it running up to this point, and there were a lot of concerns around this game. If you remember, there were like rumors about it being in trouble in development, and they show up here with gameplay for it. Like, I'd say more of the trailer was gameplay than not, obviously, as they're showing it here, and it looked good. I was very, very, it feels like Perfect Dark, which is awesome. But this made me feel way better about the initiative and the Crystal Dynamics. I'm pretty confident Crystal Dynamics. I think they're a good studio that have been caught in some unfortunate positions with publishers and deals and things that have gone on. So they've kind of been at the center of like, oh, Tomb Raider, Rise of Tomb Raider is only on the Xbox because they signed some massive deal with them, that sort of thing. Or obviously what we've seen previously with like Square and then Embracer, and it's bouncing all over the place. But I really like what I saw here. What do you guys think about Perfect Dark?
Looks good.
Looks good. I mean, there wasn't a release like window.
Oh no, they didn't say anything about that.
And they announced
they didn't give us a year.
Yeah, they announced this game 4 years ago. So, but yeah, we'll see. It looks cool. There's a lot of gameplay cuts, but from what they did show outside of that, I think it looks like it's gonna be pretty cool. So I hope it's good. I really hope it's good. But I mean, who knows when this game's even gonna be ready to go? So
we'll see. That like destructible environment. At one point, they shoot right there, and part of like a chunk of the building kind of breaks off. So I'm hoping we have like destructible environments and stuff pretty consistently throughout. But some of the animation, it's all first person. They're not even bothering with third person at all.
Yeah.
It's not like you climb something, it shoots the like third person behind them. Not even dealing with that. So it has kind of that Mirror's Edge twist on it too with that. So somersault, I assume the camera's doing the somersault too.
I gotta get my Dramamine ready for that one. I was gonna say,
OJ, that seems tough. Did you what happened when Mirror's Edge came out? Did you just go, nah, that's just not for me?
I got sick every time I powered through it. I was a little bit better back then though. It wasn't as bad. The nausea that I got back then. I don't know when I was younger, but yeah, just powered through it. Sometimes I'd get sick. Like Metroid Prime, same thing. I would get a little nauseated. I'd just take a break. So all we have to just do that here. Just take breaks or Dramamine or whatever. Just not play it. But I got to play it. So
can you play VR games?
No.
Okay.
I can't.
Okay, because I was like, that seems pretty bad.
Yeah, I can. I can't play. I can play them, but once again, just short stints. I can't play for anything more than 15, 20 minutes. Metroid Prime, same thing. 15, 20 minutes. It just starts to get bad. So, but yeah, I'll figure out a way. Okay, like I said, I can take Dramamine, and that helps. So
there were a couple games here that people didn't really believe are gonna look like that. This is one of them. I'll name the other one when we get to it. But the way that it all worked out, it did seem at times kind of scripted. But then if that is the case, and that's just how it plays through, it's pretty impressive stuff. So we'll see when it comes out. I think this is it's a 2026 game. I think
2020.
I just think it's encouraging that the initiative is like established now. This was a pretty big deal for Microsoft getting a new studio off the ground, which is like never easy with this kind of budget. So seeing that they're in a stable position to show this game off and they feel pretty confident that it's going to come out all the way through, I feel a lot better about the studio's position in this game in particular. It was like such a worrying thing with the announcement of Crystal Dynamics stepping in. It sounds like they're pretty established now and they're good to go.
To my understanding, the way that the initiative was formed was we're going to make a studio that I think they said is like quote unquote agile. Like it's smaller. So the idea is they'll do a lot of like the storyboarding and the managing. And what they'll do is they'll bring in a larger, more production ready studio to collaborate with. And I guess Crystal Dynamics is that studio now. I do wonder though, how Embracer views Crystal in the sense that they are very expensive and Embracer's looking to cut costs everywhere right now. So the only thing I feel like tying them to Embracer is currently Tomb Raider. And like when Tomb Raider comes out, I almost wonder if they would consider just selling Crystal Dynamics to Microsoft or something. It seems like it's working out so far, at least from what they showed here. But I think we're 2 years off from this thing minimum. But
yeah, at
least they showed it. And they showed gameplay. It wasn't just another, cut together CG trailer. So that's at least good.
Yeah, it's good.
We did have Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred, October 8th. Are you still playing Diablo 4, Evan?
No.
No? Okay. There you go.
Seemed offended that you would
Baffled.
suggest that. Like, no, what? No
people-
more?
People think they know my backlog. I played 3 when they had an actual freaking economic system in it, and the auction house and everything, and I immediately stopped playing after that just because of all the
Wow.
shitty
See, so 4 didn't
practices.
pull you in at all?
No.
Wow, I
2,
thought it would've.
2 was
Okay.
good enough at that point. It was fine.
Wow, I thought it would have. All right, then. All right,
No.
that works. Okay, so the other one that people didn't necessarily believe was gameplay or in-engine, quote unquote, anything like that was Fable, but they showed it again. Playground Games, and this one also looks really, really good in terms of visuals. Like it's actually a bit surprising, although Playground's very good with like photogrammetry and stuff, as you've seen with like Forza Horizon. You play those games, they look incredible if you have a nice TV setup for them, 4K. And it looks like it's translating over really well to Fable. Like this looks super high end, super like high quality. And I'm still unsure as to this main character, if you're going to be playing as her the whole way through, or if you're going to have a creative character. Like this is a placeholder character. I'm not sure. And they're not really saying right now. But this is another game that I think is going to impress when it comes out. I mean, they still have it set up as 2025. It is going to Game Pass day one as we were expecting. What do you think about this, OJ? Because this is one you wanted to see it at this show.
Yeah, I wanted to see it, and the trailer was okay. I guess I'm not as big of a fan of these. Like, I'm narrating a trailer, and like then they're just like talking about something else instead of just actually just like showing the game. They did interweave like the narration and like the plot with gameplay, which was cool, but I would have liked it if we actually got just like, hey, here's like a nice gameplay trailer for the game, and it was just them playing through it. But I get it, it's coming out next year. There's plenty of opportunity to do that, and they're setting up exactly what this game is going to be about, how the character with the plot and stuff. So I completely get that. But from what I saw, it looks good, but I don't know how the mechanics are going to work. I don't know if they're going to do the stuff that they did before in terms of like the good and evil type of thing. I don't know how the magic is going to work. Like there's so many different things that's part of like old school Fable that was not shown here at all. So I don't know if it's going to be the same type of game that it was before, but hopefully it is. Hopefully it's as good as the old Fable games and we'll be good. But yeah, they didn't really show like the mechanics and stuff. So it's hard for me to say anything more than the graphics look good and it seems like it's going to be Fable, but I need to see maybe a bit more. Like with the gameplay mechanics and systems.
Some of these
Does
shots
Fable
look
have
super impressive. Go ahead, Celia.
Does Fable have dating?
that would be amazing.
You
So
can get married in the game, yeah.
So this was back like the original Xbox, obviously, and PC, and then went up to 360. But yes, there were like relationships and stuff you could have, but mostly it was you populating a town and then leaving and going to the next town and populating that town.
So wait, you can
That
have
is
wives in
awesome.
different towns? That's what I'm hearing.
Oh yeah. You were pretty ruthless in the game.
Oh geez.
When I'm looking
Your
sold, I
character.
didn't know that was part of it at all.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yes.
Do you think you
Okay.
have to play the old Fable games to like get this new one?
No.
Probably
You can
no,
just jump right into it. No.
You'll just
Now
it's
it
a
looks
new,
they're fully rebooting this thing.
yeah, it's a new character, new stuff, new lots of things. You don't gotta play it.
Rad.
You can
Or you can
go
play
back and
or
play
actually wait,
it.
Josie, play this game. It's called Fable The Journey.
Oh,
right
God.
here. I know it's kind of hard to see. It's called Fable The Journey. Play this game. Seriously, it's awesome.
Oh, don't do
Check it out.
Okay, so the older Fable games, they like redid kind of the first one. It still holds up well enough. But yes, if you've ever been curious about Fable, you can go through and help out with the population issue in the game. So
Why does Josie keep getting all this homework she's not going to do?
Well, I'm not
Hey,
going to play the
Fable-
old
Fable
Fable.
games
That's the
but I will
meme.
Every
play
week.
the new.
That's
Yeah,
the
play
meme,
Fable The
man.
Journey. I already told you what the
Wait.
best Fable game to play.
If Josie's getting homework, you need to give out homework for dating sims. I feel like it's only fair. So,
Okay, I would like everybody to
Mm.
play Sims and come back with how many people you've woohooed.
I played Sims back in 2003.
I'm not woohooing anybody, but
That was a huge game back then. That's like one of the first games I remember going to school and like the girls were talking about playing it. That was like a big thing. That was
It's
a big
good.
deal.
I played it a lot when I was a kid. So
When
it's fun.
COVID hit, I like unearthed my Sims, and I was like, it's time to play an unhealthy amount. It was fun.
You know what the crazy thing is? My sister, she's not a gamer at all, but The Sims, she spent like over $1,000 on like The Sims.
It's
And
because
she-
you can play God. Like that's
Yeah,
to be honest.
That's her favorite game, and she told me, she's like, yeah, I had to stop playing, and because I spent $1,000 plus on it.
I saw this
Go first.
I saw this TikTok and this girl was like, just built a $5,000 PC. Guess what I'm gonna play? And then it was just like The Sims, and it was, and you literally look at her account and she plays nothing else. It's just The Sims. Super.
Yeah,
fun.
their community is so crazy. Like, at first, like when I like heard that a lot of people played Sims still, I was like, oh, like that's awesome. I had fun. I would build a house, type in Rosebud a bunch of times, get a bunch of cash. It was lit. But like people make challenges for the game, and it's so interesting. Like they'll make the people green, and it's like the breed the green out. So you play until you have so many generations where there's no more green characters anymore. Or like they will I did one where you're basically like, sorry if I just took a whole tangent. But basically you start out as a single person and you date every single person in your town and break up their marriage, take all their money, and then you divorce them. And it's like
gosh.
a homewrecker thing. It's
That's
insane.
Homewrecker. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's definitely
it's like-
Homewrecker simulator.
They're I don't know, they're really creative and I'm very impressed. Okay, let's
gotta-
proceed with the Xbox
I-
showcase.
No, I had to look
Ariana Grande DLC for The Sims. I mean,
Basically.
she'd be a natural at that.
No, she'd be good.
I had to look up the original Sims just to see what the system requirements were, because I remember playing this on PC way back in the day, and yeah, it would have been Windows 2000, Windows
You could
XP.
probably play it on a smart fridge now.
Well,
right?
the CPU speed at the time was 233 megahertz, and I definitely had a PC that was less than that. And then I think a year later, I got one with a Pentium 3 in it, and I feel like that's when I remember people really playing the first Sims game back in the day. So that was it's 21 years ago. Wow. There you go. Sims still rolling along. All right, where were we? We were at okay, then we had Frag Punk, that's 2025. Winter Burrow in early 2025, Mixtape in 2025. Flight Simulator 2024, which is coming out November 19th. I tried the new Flight Simulator. Funny enough, I last one I really played was Flight Simulator XP. So it's been a long time that I've really gotten into them. But this one actually looks like it has missions, and it seems like they're trying to set up at least objectives for you to do in the game. So that's good for all the Flight Simulator fans out there like MVG. Elder Scrolls Online. Evan, you play Elder Scrolls Online at all?
No.
Okay. Golden Road, June 18th. Then we had Life is Strange, Double Exposure. It's October
I'm so
29th.
excited for that.
Okay,
game.
all right, good. We have a Life is Strange person here. Nate was really excited about it as well.
It's
this
so
Life
good.
is
I'm pumped for Life is Strange.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Ryan's in it too. All right, good.
Oh yeah.
Good.
It's so enjoyable. I'm really curious how they're going to take the story. And like, I was just like, wow, like Sam has such bad luck with best friends because she's like 2 for 2 on her best friend getting shot. Like that's just the thing that happens with her. So I hope in the third, I guess, iteration of this game, well, technically it'd be fourth because there was a prequel, but yeah, maybe Max should not have best friends. I don't know why I called her Sam, by the way. Her name is Max.
Maybe she shouldn't be social.
I'm tired. But yeah, no, the game's great. The mechanic is that you can turn back time and like redo things. And I hope that they keep it. There's like this thing at the end of each chapter where they tell you the choices that other people did. So like if you chose to help someone or not, and you're like, let's be an asshole and like, go that route. And like at the end of the chapter, it'd be like 54% of you decided to like let her rot. And like the other people helped her. And you feel justified on your choices.
I feel like that was
So it's
I feel like I
Butterfly
remember that
Effect,
from-
the movie, the game. All right.
I feel like I remember that from Catherine, where it would tell you what other people voted in the game. I don't know why that just came to mind immediately.
There's a few
I like
games that
that.
did that. A lot of the Telltale games do that type of thing.
Not to go off on
Okay.
a tangent, but Celia, did you like True Colors?
Which one was True Color? Was that the most recent?
Yeah, like its own separate thing.
Oh yeah,
basically.
no, I played that. I mean, it was fun. That was the Feelings one, where I always mix up there's the two, because there's the one with the brothers, and then that's the Feelings one in Portland
Yeah.
or Colorado, or I don't remember. It's all a
I
blur.
think it's Colorado.
Yeah. Yeah, like it was cool, but I feel like I really like Max's story better, because like I really like Chloe as a character, and I just enjoyed their like, I guess, dynamic. So it was a shift, but it was enjoyable. I'll play any of those games, to be honest.
I did play Catherine. TJ, that was a long time ago. There's a game for Josie and Celia to play. There you go.
Catherine? Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
Atlas
since you guys
title,
like
right?
dating games so much.
That one
No,
looked
that's
weird,
that's
though.
Atlas. That's Atlas.
That was like the puzzle
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one, but it's like about another love triangle situation technically. But it's really weird. People like die in their dreams, and you're like in your dream you're trying to go up like basically a pyramid puzzle thing, and it's odd. But you were asked like moral questions each night, and then they compare it to what like the consensus voted, so it'll tell you kind of where you fall with everyone else online.
Wasn't that
That's just-
game like
that's what it reminded me.
marketed to be going to the Switch? Wasn't that like a huge?
It is on the Switch.
It is on the Switch.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I remember
that-
seeing that in directs and just being like, "What the hell is this?"
It was weird back because when it first came out on the 360, and that was kind of strange at that time, because we were still in this phase of like, are these Atlas games, for example, going to the Xbox 360, or are they mostly just PS3? And it popped up, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, yeah, it was a strange game. It definitely stood out. Kind of still stands out now.
Yeah, I have the little sheepy horn headband that they gave out. I think it was like at E3 one year. It's been on my list to play. I just heard that the levels can be a little bit like repetitive.
Yeah,
But,
they are. Yeah.
You should just
But,
play
like-
it on. You should just play it on easy mode. Just play it on easy mode and just get through the story. To be honest, that's the gameplay. I can't stand the gameplay in that title.
But the story's
the story's cool, and it's like really weird. So that's the good part. Or you could just watch it.
Yeah, watch a playthrough. It sounds like.
Yeah, I actually hate the gameplay.
What?
I hate
Okay.
it. Yeah, I can't.
I-
I'm not a puzzle.
Yeah, it's a
don't
push
like
puzzle. You
yeah.
just push boxes,
Yeah,
try to get
you
to the
push
top.
and pull boxes and try to, and like something like is like a whole thing's like trying to catch you, like you can get like die after a certain amount of time if you don't do it. Like it's just and like that's all it is, and it's just the same thing over and over and over, but with various different types of
Yeah, they add
those same
rules,
puzzles.
change
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, but the gameplay sucks, man. I don't like it, but everything else is great. Everything else around the
I've
game is
heard
great.
that. I've
Yeah.
heard that from so many people, because like I was going through such a fix, like during COVID, like I rebeat PS5, Persona 5. I did like 100% social link with that. Then I went to P4. Then I played the Danganronpa series like 1 through 3, and then I was like looking for something else, and I was gonna buy Catherine, but then my coworker talked me out of it. It's I don't know. It's still on
I
the
just
list,
put it
but
on
we'll see.
easy. I just blew through it, and then I don't think I even just put on easy. The first time I just watched it like on like YouTube, just like, and then when the full body edition came out, I was like, oh, well, let me just play it. Let me actually play. I'm like, oh, this is terrible. Let me just go through it on easy mode. And there's a bunch of like additions and stuff to make it better for like the full body edition over the 360 version. So
Indiana Jones next. Still looks good, and it feels like it does feel like another movie for the franchise. I mean, and they spent a lot of time legitimately just showing a cutscene for it. I guess in-engine cutscene, as they said. But Troy Baker doing a very good job with Indy's voice, right? And I'm really looking forward to this one. I was a little surprised they didn't give a release date though. I think the rumored one is currently December for release, so it seems like this is one they're going to just get out before the end of the year. But all the gameplay they've shown, I think, has looked fine for it. It is that first person, sometimes third person, but like 80% of the time first person type game. And that still kind of has people feeling a bit weird about it, because you kind of look at something like an Indiana Jones, think of Uncharted, think of Tomb Raider, third person games. But any thoughts on Indy? Because it just seems like they showed us more of it, and it still looks really good, but no real new information technically on it.
Yeah, I thought the cutscene was funny when that German guy was talking about the cartoons.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
the
that
American
meme's all
cartoons.
over Twitter
like,
now.
yo,
Yeah, the choo-choo.
I was like, Jordan Fringe out here hurting. But yeah, man, like I thought it was cool. I thought it looked good from what they showed. And then they showed like a little gameplay, like sizzle thing at the end, right?
They showed like flashes of gameplay. It looked kind of like stuff we've already. I don't know if it was the gameplay we've already seen. It might have been, but it was like very quick flashes of gameplay. So there were some shots of them firing the gun, him jumping like to different ledges and stuff, throwing stuff. Yeah, I feel like a lot of that was stuff we'd already seen. I feel like maybe that shot's new.
The first person is the thing that I'm a bit like making me think, okay, I gotta probably just watch. This is a watch on YouTube for me, you know.
You in first person, man. That's
I'm getting killed here, guys. I'm getting bodied. Avowed has third person mode though, which is good.
It does actually. Yeah, you're right. Yep, it does have third person. So I'll be curious to see how janky that is. How Skyrim's like.
It's probably janky as hell. That's why they weren't really showing it, and they just announced it on Twitter.
We did have Mecha Break. It is, for what I looked into this because it actually looked all right when they showed some of the gameplay for it. Apparently, this is a battle royale mech game that looks kind of like Gundam, sort of.
Yeah,
This looks dope.
And it's apparently it's 60 people at once can play in it, up to 60 people. And I mean, it looks absolutely ridiculous, all the stuff happening. But it looks fast. I was kind of worried when they said it was going to be like, the sort of mech assault where it's a little more purposeful, a little more like grounded in reality. This looks like fantasy. Like you're just flying around robots, laser swords, all kinds of stuff firing everywhere. So
it's a live service game. It's more of you said battle royale, right? That's
what they mentioned, in the press release. It's kind of like they have like a battle royale style.
There's no single player like normal.
I don't think so. I think this is mostly going to be like an online multiplayer game. And I mean, just based on all the gameplay they showed was basically that. Like
you lost me right there.
Each other.
So, you got armored core, you're fine.
You lost. I'm good.
What do you think, Evan? I just realized that, Evan, you're a mech guy. What do you think of this?
Well, I mean, I'm a min-maxy PvP guy, and this does fit all the boxes, so I might check it out.
Maybe. Okay, see, we got one. All right, we got one.
I mean, you had State of Decay 3, but I mean, you guys wrote it off when you already went by it, which I can understand.
Really? You're State of Decay? I didn't know you were a State of Decay person.
I love State of Decay enough that I know to not play it within the first year because it is not good for phone players at all. Literally day one, every single time any of them come out, it's always the rock threw me across the map. Everything blew up around me and I died. You have to wait a year for that to go away. That's how the dev works, or at least just wait for someone to say something.
Well, you can play Mecha Break for a year and wait. Then there you go.
Maybe. I mean, it's coming 2025, so it's by the time it comes out, we'll see what else is coming.
There you go. Okay. Well, at least looked interesting. So we'll see how it actually turns out when it releases. We had Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers. People seemed all right on this. Looked kind of like a Souls game, I think, based on what they showed.
Yeah. Souls.
So I mean, which is fine. I do feel like the Souls, because we get so many that are trying to sort of imitate it or pull mechanics from them, they are starting to kind of blend together for me when I see them in trailers. And usually it's not until you actually have it in front of you and you can sort of get a feel for the controls, the movement, the parrying, the dodging. Like I think that's why Lies of P snuck up on so many people, is because that game is well done, like it's well put together. But when they were showing it, it was kind of like, this looks sort of like a Bloodborne Souls game, I guess. But once you get in front of you, you get a chance to play it. I think it starts to stand out. But hey, there you go, Game Pass. So you're already in if you have the service. 2025 though, a lot of 2025 releases I noticed here. So they fortunately didn't do the thing where they said all the stuff will be out in a year. Avowed. Okay, so once again, no release date on this. They did accidentally put a release date out though, which was kind of weird. And then they pulled it back, but they had the release for November 12th. So I don't know if somebody accidentally posted it or said it in an interview, but I'm going to assume it's coming out November 12th then, because it seemed like they had kind of put it out there officially. So still looking like, I don't know. Look, the art style and stuff is fun. I think the environments look good. It still feels very much like an attempt at a Skyrim or just an Elder Scrolls game in general. So
This was
Third
kind of
person,
high
though?
on my list for the show.
You like the okay, Ryan? You're in for Avowed.
I think it looks dope. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Do you just
Although
like the look between melee magic and kind of that open Elder Scrolls look to it?
I don't know. Yeah, it just seems like a very souped up, leaning more into the magic style combat for like what Skyrim had. I don't know. There's something about this game that I'm gravitating towards that, and I love the key art.
Oh yeah, the key art's really good.
Yeah.
Whoever came up with that there's a lot of creativity there in like one shot. Then we had Atomfall, that's 2025. Assassin's Creed Shadows, we'll come back to that when we get to Ubisoft Forward. Stalker 2, Evan, you're in for Stalker 2.
I want to see more. I mean, this is yet again, we showed you some stuff. We're not telling anything about it. GSC has a history of, revealing a lot, talking a lot, and then having the game come out, and it's not that great at first. It has the same Bethesda issue of the community fixes it. So I want to see where this goes, because Stalker is an amazing game. It was an amazing open world game when it first came out. I kind of want to see where they go with this.
September 5th. So it's less than 3 months away. So we'll find out here pretty soon. We had new console, new hardware announced. There is an Xbox Series X all digital, as expected. And there's a 2 terabyte Series X, which is $600. We have now returned to the $600 price point for consoles. We're kind of going the wrong way with consoles, actually.
Yeah, they went up, man. What's going on here?
Pick this up for Call of Duty.
Very disappointed that they didn't verbally say $599 US.
They didn't say
very
any pricing.
Disappointed.
They're going up in price, man. We're supposed to be getting discounts.
They learned the lesson. you don't put that price up there.
Yeah,
but it's got a disk drive.
It's got a disk drive, and it's got another terabyte. But
it's got a disk drive. But
this
is not, if you want a Series X with a disk drive, brand new. Now it's 100 more.
Yeah, which is ridiculous, right? I mean, that's not good, is it? That's not good.
You can still buy the 1 terabyte for $500. So the pricing, from what I understand, is the Series X all digital is $450. The Series X 1 terabyte with the disk drive is $500, and then the 2 terabyte with the disk drive is $600.
That's right. I forgot they priced down the other one, which is good, obviously.
The all digital basically just matches the PS5.
Are they going to have in stock all of these normally, like all these different variations of it?
This thing's kind of weird. You know what's so strange is, from what I understand, they had the black Xbox Series S 1 terabyte and they discontinued it, and now they have the white Series S 1 terabyte. So I think their color scheme is they have white consoles that don't have a disk drive, they're all digital, and then they have like the Black Galaxy Edition one here that looks cool, like the green specks all over it, or just the regular black Series X, and those have disk drives. That's my understanding how they're kind of doing these color schemes. So you're right, though. That's a lot of systems to try to keep in stock for retailers. So I feel like probably half of these you'll probably just find on their website.
Yeah,
they fulfill themselves, don't they? So a lot of the stock they can just keep in their warehouses.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where we're going anyway. If we're not almost already there, like it's still kind of, I mean, people say they see them all the time, and I get it, but I'll go to stores and it's not like how it used to be where you'd see stacks of these things behind glass at Walmart. If I go to Best Buy, they have them sort of all the way in the back by where pickup is, and they have like a few stacks of Xbox or PlayStation 5s. I just feel like last generation with the PS4 and the Xbox One, you just see boxes of these things all over the place to find a system. But it doesn't seem like it's that way anymore. So a lot of fulfillment on the website.
With retail space, though, these boxes for both of these machines are huge.
Yeah.
That's a good point as well.
Like the PS4 and X1 retail box, especially the PS4 box, is like super small. Like people don't think about this, but at least for like a retail presence, the physical size of the box will determine how much like space it might get, especially how much turnover they'll sell the product, obviously. But like physical dimensions do play a role at retail.
And to close out, they have Gears E-Day or Emergence Day. Gears fans were very excited for this one. I will admit, I like Gears of War, but back in the day, you were either a Gears person or a Halo person. There's very little, I don't say there's no crossover, kind of little crossover.
I liked both.
Did you see?
Yeah,
it was
I liked
the Halo people and the Call of Duty people were always at odds. Gears were kind of
yeah.
in the middle. Like I still play Gears because it had that co-op on the same screen, and I had a fun time going through it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I wasn't the person out there getting the Gears tattoo or anything. I liked it. You know, it was
Well,
cool. But I was
a-
really into Halo then.
it was a cool game when it came out, and I loved the nod that they did the whole Mad World music and everything, because that was such a iconic commercial back then that made me like help me like, okay, I'm gonna buy this game. But like, you know, for Gears, it's cool that they're not going forward, because I haven't been excited for Gears in a while. And the last Gears game that I played, it was like 100 gigabytes, and I played it for a bit. I'm like, dude, I don't. Who are these people? I don't know. I didn't like anything with it. So it's cool that they're going back to the roots of it. It's like, is it Dom's brother? People are saying it's his brother, or something, or maybe it's him. I don't know, whatever. But I just like the fact that you're going back to the old school, playing as the characters, you know. So.
Yeah, I think people were really excited to see like Marcus.
Yes,
again, but the younger version of him when they're first dealing with as I say, E-Day emergence, and you're trying to figure out with these locusts. They're obviously he's fighting a drone and really having a hard time. Whereas you see him later on in life, and he's just blowing right through him, just about. But it even shows they don't have like the chainsaw on their gun; they have like a blade. So that part of the lore, to my understanding, is the blades would break on these different drones and stuff. And eventually, they got to the point where they figured out they could use a chainsaw, and that is like the most iconic thing in Gears. I remember first seeing that when you fired up a chainsaw and just sliced through them. It was crazy back then. Yeah. So I assume they're going to have an entire scene that is really well done with that sort of realization that we're gonna just attach chainsaws to our guns, and that's gonna save us. That's gonna save the day. So I'm excited to see how this. Apparently, what we're seeing here with this cutscene are assets and like in engine, and this is, I don't say it's going to look exactly like this in the game, but they're pretty confident they're going to hit a target close to this in terms of visuals, and it would have to be at 60 frames for something like Gears. So I have to see that one, but to believe it. But the Coalition is very, very good with Unreal, so they might get there. But I'm excited for it. It's unfortunate they didn't have gameplay ready, and they just sort of showed the trailer, but I think that was impactful, just kind of introduce it and show people. People were expecting Gear 6 to pop up, and this is E-Day, so they've gone backwards rather than forwards. But I think it's really cool. Exciting stuff for Gears fans. Exciting stuff for hardcore Gears fans who really know the lore, definitely.
Oh, I'm gonna play this game, just play through the single player, probably co-op, you know. But that's what I used to do back in the day. The co-op was I played online a little bit, but I was more of and the horde mode. Because it was such a cool thing back then. So for me, probably just co-op and single player, and maybe a little bit of online, but mostly just that.
Yeah. So that was the Xbox showcase. I thought it was good. And then they did like Call of Duty for 20 some odd minutes, but it's Call of Duty. So there you go. But I was very happy with what Microsoft put together here. I thought it was going to be good for them. Based on some of the stuff that was coming out, it sounded like they're going to put together a show. But if I just put this down on a list, like I did here in the document, and I just read them off, I feel like many people would go, that's kind of just put a wish list together. I don't know if that's actually going to be a thing. So the fact that that's sort of where we landed with some of the games that were shown, I think they did good. Like I have like this show at like a 9 out of 10 for them.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was really good. There was a lot of stuff I liked, and I usually don't care about Xbox too much. So
well, there you go. That must be good then.
I feel that. I was excited about the Life is Strange thing, and then usually I'm not as pumped about Xbox stuff. But now that I have Game Pass, I'm going to start checking out more things, expanding my
Call
horizon.
of Duty.
Okay, I've played Call of Duty like on PlayStation with my friends, and it's always a interesting experience. Okay, and on that note, I need to head out because I'm really tired, guys. Thank you.
I thought you were gonna leave a while ago, to be honest.
Me too, but then I was like kind of like learning. I was like taking notes in my head. I'm like, oh, that game's kind of interesting, and like it was like story time. Okay, going for reals. Bye.
Bye.
Check her out on Game and Talk if you guys like the vibes.
Wednesdays, awesome. Me and Josie. Okay, bye.
Oh yeah.
Let's I will get some of the super chats here too. I do want to recognize this though. Going into this week, there are talks and discussions around a Nintendo Direct happening. Again, it seems like every week, but I will tell you this week seems a bit more founded, I guess. Tuesday, we'll see. So look for an announcement Monday, I guess. There you go.
Have they ever done a Direct on a Tuesday? I feel like it's always a Wednesday, Thursday vibe.
I think they've done one on a Tuesday before in the past.
I'm a little surprised they didn't just announce this thing on Thursday or Friday or something. Like we already know it's happening in June. Guess what? There's 2 weeks left, so take a guess on which week it is. Do you feel like they could have just announced it then and be like, tune in next week this time? Although I do wonder how big this Direct's going to be, because I do kind of like, they're obviously trying to sell stuff still this gen, but I do feel like internally a lot of their focus is on, okay, we got to make sure this next system launches well. But this past week, the 13th, Metroid Prime 4 had its anniversary of 7 years since it was shown. 7 years. I want people to realize you could have gone through high school almost 2 full times from the point that Metroid Prime 4 was first announced to now, and we still have not seen gameplay.
Yeah, I was in 8th grade when it was announced, and now I'm almost last year of college.
There you go. Metroid Prime 4 is it's also been a little more than 5 years since they announced that they were rebooting development. And it had already moved to retro, obviously, by then, but months before it had moved to retro. So they're lining up, I think, I think we're going to see it this week coming up. Basically, Metroid Prime 4, I think, will be in attendance. I feel like you close it out with that. And I think Retro Studios impresses a lot of people. But I do hope they have that ready for next system as well. But I had to recognize it. I saw that pop up and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's really been 7 years since this thing got announced for the first time. And it was just the animation and then the logo. There it is.
And thus the problem with showing a logo and nothing else.
That's one that I feel like that maybe they just were really confident with it on their end, even though they didn't have Retro working on it when clearly they should have been doing that in the first place. They must have just, I don't know.
Oh, you guys don't know why they showed it that early? So there was a situation, Reggie Fils-Aimé talked about it as well, but there was a situation at that time where there was a problem with the fans' expectations with 3DS and Switch, or 3DS and Wii U. And that happened a lot where people would complain about them showing 3DS stuff. You're doing too much on 3DS. So from the interview that I remember with Reggie Fils-Aimé, what he said is that they showed it so people didn't think that they were not going to do something for the console. Because remember, at that E3, they showed Metroid Samus Returns. And it was also the same reason why they said, we're making a new Fire Emblem game on console. We have nothing to show, but we're making a new one. On Fire Emblem 3 Houses was announced before the system was even shown, because there was a direct with, I think, what was it? The Fire Emblem Heroes mobile game and the Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia. And people had been complaining about that at directs. You guys aren't showing enough with the console and all that. So from what I remember with Reggie Fils-Aimé saying, they wanted to make sure that, the console fans know that, hey, you're still getting something, even though they had nothing to show. Same thing with Fire Emblem. They had nothing to show, but they still announced it so people don't think that they're not doing a console game, from what I remember.
Just cut everyone a break, Nintendo, and do it at like noon. Don't make these West Coast people get up at 6 a.m. or 5:30 a.m. or something.
I'll wake up. I'll be up.
Every one of those directs that I react to, like, all the comments are like, Josie looks dead, because I literally roll out of bed and I'm like, hi guys, and I'm like just ill half the time. It's really bad.
Help them out, Nintendo. Or even better, do it at like 4 p.m., 4 Eastern in the afternoon.
Listen, I like them early so I can get up, get my day started, get it going, not have to stream later. So I'm a fan of the early. Yeah,
I wake up, do the direct, and then I go back to bed.
I'm just like Josie. That's way too early.
But you're East Coast, so what is
Ryan's out here recording videos at like 4 a.m.
I see that just solves my problem. No,
it does. It does. If it's like by 10 o'clock or if it's by like 9 o'clock, that's nowhere near as bad.
So OG, I'm a night owl. So if I'm going to be up
on Japan time,
if I'm up till 4 or 5 in the morning, I'm going to get like 3 hours, and then I got to wake up and look like a skeleton watching a video game live stream.
Okay, that's
brutal.
Literally.
Well, I'm thinking this week we'll probably have a direct, so should be good.
Looking forward to it, Nintendo.
Ryan,
Are we going to talk
go
about
ahead.
or are we done with? Okay, well, maybe we'll just talk about it later. But
Go.
yeah, I don't think the direct is going to be anything too crazy. So, but I think it's going to have stuff that people want. Like
I think you'll see some
people
more
have been begging
remasters,
for.
remakes.
Yeah,
right?
people have been
Metroid Prime 4
begging
big.
for a while. So I think we're going to get some of that.
Do you guys
Twilight
think we're gonna get?
Princess.
That's a good one. Twilight Princess. Throw it on there. That and Wind
Yeah.
Waker. Get that
Twilight
done.
Maker, finally the Fire Emblem game, Fire Emblem 4 remake.
Box Boy. All I've
Pushmo.
ever wanted.
Pushmo, maybe Pushmo.
Pushmo would be
Oh,
cool.
Pushmo would be
Yeah,
amazing.
Pushmo, stuff like that. I don't think it's going to be anything super crazy, like John said, because the next system. But there's going to be some stuff that people want.
Yeah, I'd be
you
careful
guys-
with expectations around this direct coming up. Is all.
Yeah.
Saying. Go,
Yeah.
Disney.
Do you guys think that we could see Luigi's Mansion 1? Because then we would have the whole franchise.
I think that's a good idea. You
I
might as
think
well.
they could. Yeah, I think they could just say, "Hey, look, Luigi's Mansion 1 is coming as well." They've done it before. I remember when Bayonetta 2 was coming to the Wii U. They're like, "Yeah, you also get Bayonetta 1 too." So, and I was just kind of surprised. People have been begging for like, "Where's Bayonetta 1?" They didn't say anything until like it was like at a direct. Like, "Oh yeah, you also get Bayonetta 1." So there could be something like that, but I don't know. That game's stuck on the GameCube and 3DS. There's a 3DS version for some reason. So
Yeah.
so yeah.
Might as well. They already have 2 and 3. Get the first one there too. Why not?
Yeah, and they did it with Pikmin, so
Yeah,
it's a possibility.
Let's see. Oh, Ryan, we did have that. We had talked about this on the PlayStation podcast. There's more speculation on our part just because we didn't have as much information, but we got a bit more, I guess you could say, confirmation that Guerrilla, Sony see the Switch as a good fit, is what they said, for Lego Horizon Adventures. So as we kind of figured, it was more Sony's idea to get this thing on the Switch as opposed to Lego holding them up and telling them they had to do it.
Manhandling them?
Yeah.
Forcing them?
And then
RGT and a scepter? RGT with the
he didn't wear his
scepter?
crown because somehow he lost his crown. Like no one else in his house but him, and somehow he lost his crown. And he had his scepter, and he was Sean was going crazy on Twitter, X or whatever. He was trying to.
A bunch of
He was trolling
morons.
people.
A
He was
bunch
trolling
of
people.
morons kept on like literally trying to tell him that Lego forced them to. That's ridiculous. It's their own
Right.
IP.
So let's be fair though. I mean, there's no universe where Lego doesn't want the game on as many platforms as possible.
I agree.
I mean, that's a
forcing them?
there's no doubt in my mind that Lego wants more platforms.
Absolutely.
But so the thing that the way I would phrase it is Lego probably got the short end of the stick because they're the ones that are making the compromise here. Because Sony says, okay, we'll do a Switch and there's a lot of upside for us, but we don't want Xbox. Lego probably made the compromise, not so much Sony.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see them.
Still
I can see them.
It's still their decision, though. At the end of the day, it's their IP. It's if they want to blow this whole thing up, they could. They could just say, "Screw it, we don't want to do anything with you guys." So it's still at the end of the day. Yeah, there's probably compromise. I get that, but it's still their IP. It's still their IP. They don't have to do a Lego Horizon. You know what I'm saying? Lego doesn't have to work with them. But I don't think anybody's going to sit there and like. You can't force Sony to do something with their own IP. Like you can't say you're going to do this no matter what. It's they own
OJ,
it.
the problem is Sony was very much in that position with the MLB franchise and the MLB association, because even though they're making a really good baseball game, license is a powerful thing. MLB association stepped in and said, "We're taking this game away from you unless you ship it on all platforms." And that was a circumstance where Sony said, "You know what? That's fine. We'll keep it in-house. We'll ship it on Xbox." In this circumstance, I think it was really a matter of them negotiating Xbox out of the platform lineup. Lego wants many platforms. There's no doubt in my mind.
Absolutely. I just think that MLB, they own the IP. Sony doesn't own the MLB IP.
Well, I'm not.
You know
I don't
what
want
I'm
to.
saying?
I know. I don't want to put it in the exact same sort of framework like it's a perfect comparable, but to
Okay.
illustrate the point, which is if Sony wants to have the opportunity to make the game and sell it and collect 30% on rival platforms, and you know what I mean? That's what's playing out here, especially in the context of Horizon, which is they want the IP to grow, and it's going to grow on Switch versus Xbox potentially.
So you feel RGT Scepter was premature? Is the Scepter
I don't even know what he's going on about. Like, there's no doubt. Look, I get that people like get, I don't know, it goes into fanboy emotional weird territory. I don't ever like to acknowledge that bullshit because that's exactly what it is. But to suggest Lego didn't want more platforms, that's like silly. Like, let's not just say stupid shit. Lego wants more platforms.
Of course.
Sony probably was able to negotiate. We don't want Xbox because they're Sony.
There you go. Let's go over to, okay, so Dragon Age, the Veilguard had gameplay that was shown and a trailer. And as soon as that trailer was shown, this thing never had a chance. It got, I mean, obliterated might be too late. It got hit hard online. Like, it is downvoted into oblivion. The visual style seems to be one of the big things that's putting people off. They got kind of like Fortnite, I guess, with the art style, kind of cartoony looking. And then they showed the gameplay, and it is more action oriented than I think people were even expecting. Like Dragon Age 2, it was kind of action based. Really, I mean, like, yes, they still have menu stuff. It was that very much action compared to.
It was very much action. Yeah,
Inquisition, same kind of thing. But like this looks like how we went from Final Fantasy 15 to Final Fantasy 16, where it's just like it's Devil May Cry almost. You know, it's like that. It's not quite to that point, but it's getting there. So this really put people off of this game, and it's tough because BioWare has kind of been going through it. They had Anthem, that didn't go well. Now Dragon Age seems to be off on the wrong foot. It doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to sell well. Like, I think Dragon Age will sell better than Anthem. I don't think that's a question. I think it's going to do better. But man, BioWare just is having a hard time getting a win right now with like the online discourse now around Dragon Age and Anthem, which I think still has the Christmas lights up. It's just, yeah, dude, I almost fired up Anthem again the other day just to see. And I might do that. What happened to Anthem? Like, where's Anthem now? Like halfway through 2024. But it's, man, I looked at the Dragon Age gameplay, and if you just looked at it as just another, like a game that didn't have Dragon Age title on it, I think it actually looked fine. And it's not open world. Like, they've already said that it's going to be kind of mission structured, sort of similar to how they took Mass Effect 2 and made that more mission structured. That's sort of their plan with this one. And yeah, I'm fine with that. So
I watched the gameplay, thought it looked okay for what they showed. Never been a big Dragon Age guy, but I've played a lot of the games. I have most of them. I have all of them. I've played all of them. Never mind. I just thought about it. I thought maybe I missed one, but no, Dragon Age 1, and there's 2. Is there Dragon Age? Is Inquisition 3?
Inquisition 3. Yeah, that one. Yeah. That's the one, actually one game of the year when it came out.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I played that. That's the most that I've played between that one and the first game. I hated the second game. So I played the series. And yeah, it's not as tactical as maybe as Dragon Age 1 and maybe Dragon Age 3 or Inquisition, but I thought it looked okay. Like, the action combat looked cool. Looks like there's going to be some cool, like, RPG stuff in the game. Read an interview. They said there's going to be a lot of deep RPG mechanics too with other classes, so that they didn't show. So yeah, we'll see when it comes out.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to recognize that because it's a big thing for Dragon Age fans this week.
Yeah. You guys better take it. I mean, listen, we haven't had Dragon Age in how long? It's been 10 years?
10 years. 10 years since Inquisition. That was 2014.
I mean, you don't have to take it, but I'm just saying, like.
Well, I think BioWare still needs to do Mass Effect. Like, so I assume they're still, even if this game did terribly, I assume they're still in at least for Mass Effect. But we've seen studios shut down for like multiple games
okay.
Well. So yeah, for doing, I thought, well, and then it's like, oh, they're gone. It's like, oh, well, okay, all right then. So
I'm a little worried about Mass Effect. I'm a little worried about it, but we'll see. I think they can't really fully go on Mass Effect until Dragon Age is done, though. I think
yes, they need to get Dragon Age out the door, which it is coming out this year. So one way or the other, by next year, they should be full production, rolling with Mass Effect, and hopefully they can get it out before the end of this generation. That's the hope.
I just don't understand why they announced
2028.
Why did they announce it? Like, there was no need to actually announce it when they did. In my opinion, there was no need, but whatever.
think it was kind of a confidence thing. It's like, what's going to happen to BioWare now after Anthem? And they're like, oh, here's Dragon Age, here's Mass Effect. We're back on what you guys like, you know?
Yeah, in tandem, and
People freaked out. Obviously, people freaked out when they saw the Mass Effect thing after what happened with Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh, don't remind me. Don't remind me of that thing. Eh.
I'll go to some of the super chats here. Future Millionaire says, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and especially to the ones that don't get enough credit. Happy Father's Day, everyone. TJ says, I've been thinking about getting some retro gear for my Genesis 2, but why are things like the CD32X and EverDrive so expensive? Well, the
Quality
CD was very common to just break, so that's why there's just very few of them now, really. The CDX, the 32X also kind of the same way. There's a cable with the 32X you need too. You want to ask Sean about that. He knows more about 32X than probably anyone at this point. Graham Man says, calling the Xbox 720 in 2026. Remember this. All right. Sicilian Gamer says, how do you guys like your steak prepared?
on a grill.
Medium rare.
Yeah, I agree with.
This is
I like medium.
This is a meme, guys, just to let you know.
Here I was thinking it was a valid question.
No, he's memeing
from our chatters. No,
he's memeing DSP, which is hilarious.
Oh god,
I was gonna say I used to work in a restaurant and cook steaks all the time. Medium rare.
Okay. Liza Phil Spencer says, happy to see Celia back. Can you get Jack Move Johnny? Yeah, Sean knows Jack Move. He was talking about getting him on here at some point. So let's see what we can do. Sean says, I think Avowed is just waiting on if Indie makes it in 2024 before setting their date officially. Thoughts? Oh, I think Indie is coming out this year, I believe. Like, I think they kind of have it figured out when. I'm just not sure why they're not saying it yet. So I don't know. The Xbox Wire will probably post something. It's like, hey, it's coming out this first week of December, somewhere in there. So I actually think Microsoft's trying to line this stuff up because they're running into a situation that I don't say they haven't had before, but they actually have a lot of games coming out in the fourth quarter this year. Because remember, they also have Call of Duty, and you got to make room around Call of Duty. So Chris says, any thoughts about the first 3 episodes of The Boys season 4? I'm obsessed. Well, we kind of talked about it earlier. Just watch what you're eating when you're going through those episodes. Reese says, so happy Spawncast still weekly. Also, I need everyone's opinion on Knack. I've been going through it. Oh, PlayStation's first party and Knack is terrible. How do you feel about that, Ryan? How's that make you feel, Ryan?
Knack's all right to me. I don't lof it. It's like, I think the game overstays its welcome. Like, it's really long for a platformer, which I don't know. Sometimes I think you kind of have to know when to call it.
The saving in Knack is super weird too, right?
Yeah, I remember you might prefer like checkpoints. Like if you die, you go pretty far back.
Yeah, like I just remember me and my brother tried to play it when I was a kid, and we would basically like play for like 3 hours, and then something would happen, and then like our whole progress would get deleted, and we'd restart every single time.
Wow.
And we did that for like 4 times.
That sounds like a bigger problem than checkpoints.
It was awful. I've never been that upset at a game. Sackboy did not do that to me, but
yeah, I don't love Knack, which is it's funny too because that's the only game that Mark Cerny directed, who's the architect of PS4, 5, and Vita.
I think it's funny how much of a meme it is because like I didn't realize until like getting on this podcast and stuff that people like hate that game.
It was like the first PlayStation 4 game they announced, which like at the time in 2013.
Didn't they show it off next to like Unreal Engine, the demo? Like here's Unreal Engine, and then here's Knack.
That's because Knack was all about the multiple physics objects, and that's what the engine was supposed to show off.
At the time, though, like nobody appreciated that.
Interesting.
Tijo says, so why would Nintendo, Sega, and Lego issue takedowns of games they no longer sell and have no intention of distributing themselves?
For the lulz.
IP ownership and copyright, most likely, Tijo. It is odd that it took this long for them to do that to, I'll just say, a certain website at this point. Although everyone kind of knows the website. But it is odd that it took this long for that to happen. Because it's been around since 98, It's been a long time, that website. So I Live for Retro says if iPhone users get Dolphin natively, Nintendo is shutting down every ROM site. Well, there's still something going on with that. Like there's certain like executions and stuff they cannot run yet. So, but they have PSP, I believe, running on the iPhone. So it's pretty good. Teacher says, not sure if you knew this, but Ubisoft was also at Apple's WWDC keynote the same day as Forward. They announced that Shadows is coming to iOS and Mac day one. Yeah, Ubisoft been trying to make a bit of a push there with Apple
on the
recently.
iPad. That was what killed me. Look, you can play the new Assassin's Creed on your iPad.
How's that gonna? I mean, I guess you could sync up a
Gotta
controller.
get them iPad kids.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
just
you could sync
awful.
up a controller. So I guess that's how you do it. I don't know. Those M1 chips they're pretty impressive. I will give them that.
I love Apple and I even have an iPad, but that just sounds horrendous.
Just melts its way through your table.
I thought it was funny when Death Stranding went there. It's like, oh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Adam says, Celia, is this version of SK getting a physical? Well,
Pop
You'll
over to
never
Game
know.
Talk. She'll answer your
okay, there you
question
go.
over
On
there.
Game and Talk, Adam. Gotcha. Oh, thanks, Midori. Okay. That was a whole thing too this week.
You think they all
Yeah,
chipped in
no.
to donate those $2
Thanks,
Community
Midori.
effort. A
Thanks,
Kickstarter.
Midori.
50 cents each.
Yeah.
That was a whole thing with Midori. I guess we could touch on that for 2 minutes. The account turns out it was
A
Okay,
fraud.
well, what happened with this whole thing, right? Is let's say you're watching like an episode of Scooby-Doo, and at the end they're doing the whole reveal. They pull the mask off, and everyone's supposed to know who it is. And they said who it was, and I have no idea who this person is. Like Mystic. It was funny because it was Mystic, and I was like, oh, I read the first part. I'm like, oh man, we might have to break up that PlayStation podcast already. And they kept going. It's like Mystic Distance or something. I don't. Everyone's like gasping. Like, I don't know who that is, but okay. So apparently it's not. So the Midori account was supposed to be a girl, and it turns out it was a guy in the US, which if you've been around the internet long enough, that's basically what's been happening for decades anyway.
This
So
is the greatest
someone sold an
catfishing
entire
story of the modern day. It's great.
someone
Tales
sold an
old as
entire
time.
show to MTV around that concept. So I don't know why we're still surprised.
Yo, the funniest thing with that was like when he would pretend to speak like broken English.
Okay, that's probably that
But
was
his
his choice.
English is
I was like,
fine. Or would he be like, somebody would ask him, he's like, oh no, I have a boyfriend. Don't
apparently it was
This is
multiple
so
people
great.
even like there was a whole thing going on there. It's a very strange situation with that. But yeah, that probably shouldn't have, in retrospect, probably shouldn't have been typing out broken English for that, thinking you're clever with it. Yeah. Wouldn't have done that now, looking at it.
But then he had to sell it. He had to sell that he was somebody else. So it's like, okay, you're Japanese, but you can understand everything. And so I mean, I understand why they did it, but at that point, you're too deep. Like there's nothing that you can
You're
do.
into
Like, you're in too deep. You're in over your head, and you're gonna get exposed at some point. So that's the hilarious thing about it, you know.
Yum Yum says, can OJ do a whoa shout out every time someone says Josie's name?
Whoa.
Last stream was so hilarious.
Come on, OJ, hit it. Yeah, it is.
Denizen says the confusion of Metal Gear is part of the fun. I feel like that's what Kingdom Hearts fans say a lot.
That's what Metroid people say.
Well,
Metroid
no,
people say it
different
too.
type of confusion, though, right?
Yeah, I feel like
Gameplay
Metroid's
confusion-
pretty straightforward comparatively.
gameplay confusion in terms of not knowing where to go, right? Compared to story confusion.
Right.
Roy says, I recommend Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Good game. Not really a Metal Gear Solid game, though. They're very different games.
Still
terms of
weirdly
gameplay
predictive.
style.
Very
I mean, it's
solid
fun. It's a good
predictive
game.
title.
I'm just saying it's very different from what you get into with a Metal Gear Solid game. Let's see. Spyro says, who did y'all end up with date in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? I ended up actually with Aerith on the date. There you go. Pyro says, did OJ wuss out of too many games? Let's hear it.
wuss out of too many games. No, nobody wussed out of too many games. I'm just busy here with stuff that I'm doing.
So he
But
keeps changing his room he's in.
I'm just busy here. But Pyro, if you were one of the people that DM me, I need my grant. I already told you, like $1,000, and I'll be there.
Roy says I'm hoping the red cape girl to be the Jack of Blades. Perfect says maybe a crazy question. Sony owned distribution rights for a disc. I assume Blu-ray, or I say in Blu-ray. Sony's invested in Blu-ray. I don't know if they own distribution rights.
Yeah, they're part of the association. There's a bunch of companies that put it together.
Right. Not the AI synopsis for chat. Oh, Dark Type, that could get out of control. Well, Dark Type says, shout out to Josie's video, but we desperately need a Nintendo Switch Sports Resort.
Oh, dude, I know. They did us dirty with Switch Sports.
Cristobal says, do you think 2K Sports will be greedy with next NBA 2K game and ride the Caitlin Clark wave for the WNBA to have their own separate game from NBA 2K?
You got to ask yourself, do you think 2K Sports will be greedy? Just
okay,
right
there.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can imagine they will do it. Yes.
Yes,
Anything
they're
you can
going
imagine.
to ride Caitlin Clark for everything that in terms of monetary value that they can get from her. So yes.
Victor says, Evan, with GTA 6, will GTA 6 make you buy a PS5 since Rockstar are giving PC players the middle finger? If not, it's going to be hard to avoid spoilers for a while until the game drops the earliest in 2027.
People who think I care about the story in GTA, I don't understand it. It's just every criminal movie or TV show. That's all it is, boiled down.
You like the online.
The world is interesting, and what they're doing right now is interesting to me because they bought 5M, the whole company behind GTA role-playing on Twitch and all streaming services. It looks like they're gearing up for something ridiculous. That's more impressive to me than whatever the story is going to be, honestly.
I think the online is going to be pretty impressive. Yeah.
No, yeah.
Finally show it. Jorge says, with hindsight, you think Nintendo should have held back the announcement of Metro Prime 4 back in E3 2017 when Metroid 2 Samus Returns for 3DS was announced at the same time? I mean, in hindsight, probably, but as OJ mentioned, they were trying to, I would say, give people confidence around them doing something like that, but alleviate concerns that obviously would have broken out if they announced a 3DS Metroid and nothing for the Switch after what happened with the Wii U. So
yeah,
yeah,
because people went nuts when they announced. I remember when they announced Prime Federation Force for the 3DS and nothing for the Wii U.
Yeah,
Fans
right.
went ballistic when that happened.
Callanchel says there's a 3 free months of PC Game Pass deal from an NVIDIA promo. Started Halo Infinite campaign. Next is Hi-Fi Rush. What other games are worth looking at? Prefer shorter so I can finish them. Well, hey, Hellblade 2. You'll be done that tomorrow if you start right now. Like no time at all to get through that one. Also, if you're on PC, that is a good one to test your PC with because it is quite difficult to run. But it's probably the best visuals I've seen in a video game ever. So.
Is It Takes Two on Game Pass? Do you guys know?
Yeah. Yes, because that's EA, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Yep, that should be on there. A lot of the EA games will be on there for Game Pass Ultimate. I believe PC as well. So yeah.
I highly recommend that one. Like if you have someone to play with, that game's amazing.
There you go. I think Need for Speed Unbound's even on there. It's a good racing game.
Mm-hmm.
Casual Noob Gamer says, can you borrow RGT's crystal ball to find out the direct? We'll look into it. You're probably going to see a crystal ball tomorrow. Or Monday. Switch Realm says, Chrono Trigger on its way. Let's go. That'd be nice. You wait till that gets announced, Josie. More homework.
All right.
Fat Kid
No,
says,
that's mandatory. That's mandatory, by the way. Chrono Trigger is mandatory.
If they remake it, then sure.
It doesn't
They modernize it.
If it's on Switch, it's mandatory.
All right.
DC Fat Kid says, my prediction for the Nintendo Direct, pain. I think people will still get a kick out of it because it'll be kind of nostalgia driven to it. Hey, we could be nostalgic for Metroid Prime 4 at this point.
Yeah.
Josie was in 8th grade when it got announced.
Boom.
Nostalgia tied up in that.
Exactly.
Let's finish up with Ubisoft Forward. Let's see. We had Star Wars Outlaws, the gameplay overview for that. It was like 20 minutes. And I think I actually think it looks pretty good. Very much Uncharted inspired. And apparently you could still finish the game, they said, in like 30 hours or something, but there's a lot of side content and things you can do. So they've shown it multiple times, but I think I'm going to pick it up. I'm waiting for a lightsaber to show up in the game. I'm actually shocked they haven't done anything with that to try to sell it. I guess they're really sticking to it. So
I think there's a lot of Star Wars fatigue right now, so they're trying to show like the different side of it, other than just like the lightsaber battles, because like
makes sense.
Disney's kind of driven at least the shows and stuff into the ground.
I have not felt any pull to go watch this new series that's going on right now. What is it? The
Acolyte? I watched the first
Not
2
really
episodes.
sure.
I actually thought it was okay. I haven't watched the 3rd episode. Everybody seemingly hates.
I feel like years ago when a new they did the Obi-Wan stuff, and I was like, oh, this is cool. All right, good. I'm watching that. I just haven't felt a pull for this Acolyte show. I don't know if I'm falling out of Star Wars or what, but I was like really into
I think
it
it's so
for a long
oversaturated
time.
right now that it's
Yeah,
hard to
maybe
like want to go jump, because I'm the same way. But
Who's that? I mean, look, if whenever they announce the next 3 movies and they start going to the theaters, I'll probably get real excited about it again. But I don't know. They're using it to hold up Disney Plus essentially at this point, and it's not working. So,
But this game looks great. I'm like actually pretty excited. I think just an open world Star Wars, that concept is amazing. So I'm excited to see what it means, and like if there's different classes and what you can really do.
I'll tell you what, Joseph, if we get any preview opportunity, I'll send it your way.
Oh my God, send me anywhere. I will go. I'll fly across the country.
There you go.
Literally, I will.
X Defiant Season 1 coming July 2nd. Skull and Bones Season 2, it's out now. They have Season 3 coming up as well. It's called Dragon's Wake for the 12 people playing Skull and Bones. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown got a free update. Their story DLC coming in September. Rogue Prince of Persia got an update. And then I don't know what Ubisoft was doing here. They build this up. So they're setting this scene. They're like, we got 3 announcements. And in my mind, I go, all Prince of Persia. In my mind, I'm like, okay, hold on. There's only 2 Prince of Persia games out right now. So that third thing has to be Sands of Time remake. It has to be. There's nothing else. Unless they have a new Prince of Persia game to announce. And they have 4 of them. They get there and they're like, all right, here we go. Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. And all they announce is that it's coming in 2026. That was it. It's just a 2026. Popped up.
They hit us with that PNG reveal. They rolled it back.
That was it.
The crowd went wild.
Everyone in the crowd should be ashamed of themselves. That was why.
Why
I don't understand how that gets applause. 2026.
Because it's a long journey, man. This game has been rebuilt multiple times now, it seems. So
They
it's
brought
finally
in
coming.
they brought in their top basically their top studios at this point, outside of the studio working on Assassin's Creed. Well, there are a lot of studios that worked on Shadows, but like they have Montreal on it right now. They just brought in the team that was working on Splinter Cell. They're working on this now, so it's
This game,
it's almost like all hands on deck, man.
this game is not going to sell enough to cover all this that they're doing.
No,
I
it's not.
think they do want Prince of Persia to come back I almost think they want it to come back as something they can leverage even outside of video games. And that's why they're putting so much of an effort into it. Like maybe they see a vision of we could sell a Netflix series. We could sell something to Amazon for Prime, or if we build it up. And they're thinking, I mean, they showed Sands of Time remake and it was like, it did not go well. It was bad. So they're rebuilding this thing. I think it's going to be good when it comes out.
Oh, it's going to be good.
2026, man.
I questioned, even at the time, why it needed a remake in the first place. Just remastered the game and put it out at high frame rate and resolution. The game looks fine.
Yeah, do it as a trilogy.
They did an HD version of it.
Yeah, just make it look a bit nice and just release. I don't feel that this game needed some type of high-end remake. That was just me when it came out. I was like, cool, it looks good, but does this need a remake? The gameplay is fine. Even if you play on the GameCube, it's fine. It's not nothing. It's not like it's a crusty ass game where it's just so terrible. So I don't understand why it even needed a PS3. Like in their eyes, it looked like a PS3 360 level graphics remake, right? What was point of it? So I didn't understand why they're doing it in the first place, but if they're gonna do it, it's their IP. You're right, they might want to make it bigger now at this point, but
it's one of my favorite games. Like Sands of Time, very good game.
Yeah, it's great.
Back then it was incredible stuff. So I hope it comes out. I hope it's really good and they just give Prince of Persia a shot. So We'll see. We'll see.
I think it's going to be good. Look, Lost Crown was awesome, man. Like I know
it's very,
and all that.
very good Metroidvania. Absolutely.
Yeah, Lost Crown is great. I think this game's going to be great when it comes out. I'm going to get it day one and all that. So, but yeah, it's just interesting how much time they're taking. But yeah, they had a movie with this
gosh.
Yeah, it's a bad movie, but they had one, so I can see what you're trying to say, John. Like I see, like they might want to make this, or maybe even an anime series, right? Like
there you go. Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah,
right,
anime.
Yeah. I think that's what they want to do, and which would be great if they did, because the characters and everything fits the purchase is dope. So
I'm going to give the crowd. I'm going to give them a benefit of the doubt that there was some sort of applause sign when 2026 came up. I'm just trying to figure this one out because I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't seem. Maybe they threw money at them and said applaud. I don't know. I can't figure it out. So anything
prizes like
trying to beat that ad up.
Make noise.
There you go. Prizes. I know. It's just 2026. I'd be kind of like, oh, and then they just went away from that. Like no image, no gameplay. No, I mean, sure, gameplay. I get. Maybe they can't do that, but like just a new image of the prince so they can show, okay, this is like a super high quality thing we're trying to attain here, and that's why it's 2026. Just 2026, and they move on. Then we had Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, Story Pack 1, July 16th. The Crew Motorfest, they decided to tell us about Seasons 5, 6, and 7 all at once for some reason. There you go. And Anno 17 Pax Romana, which I really wish I knew something about this series so I could tell you something about this series. But it is, it's coming out 2025, and they made a big deal that it's coming to consoles as well, PS5 and Xbox Series, alongside of PC. So, hey, for all the Anno 17 Anno fans out there. Evan, are you an Anno fan?
It was interesting when it first came out. I didn't know they had 17 by now. That was okay.
I should probably make sure this isn't a typo.
Yeah, like
whoops, let me see. Anno 17. No, I think I'm right. Okay, there's 17 of them, Evan. There you go.
Okay.
And then we had Assassin's Creed Shadows gameplay. The game looks very inspired, or I don't say inspired because it's probably in development alongside of it at the time, but it was similar to Ghost of Tsushima when we had the Yasuke gameplay, and they had Naoe, who is more the shinobi style. But apparently there was something that was off about this. They said that stealth it's not going to be true stealth in this game, or like crowd stealth, as in you're not necessarily going to be walking through the crowd. Obviously, you're not going to be walking through the crowd unnoticed as Yasuke. I think that's pretty obvious. But even with Naoe, you're not really going to be doing the typical Assassin's Creed thing where you find crowds of people and blend in. You're going to be mostly sticking to the shadows. So they're going to go that route with it, which, okay, bit of a departure for Assassin's Creed technically, but I thought the gameplay looked good. Like it looks fine. Hyper violent though. Like they're like, hey, the people are like roughing up a part of the market, and he goes in there and just bashes the guy's face off with a huge mace. Like it looked great. Like blood just exploded out of this guy's head. It was crazy. It's like you probably could have just given him a fine. He just cuts the guy's head off. So okay, well, there you go. But that's it's coming up November. I'll be picking it up, checking it out. MVG I think is as well. He's in for one, so we'll see what this Assassin's Creed is all about. But that was Ubisoft Forward. Oh, they closed out. It was a very weird thing. Did anyone else watch this? I don't know what happened here, but they had Ease how do you say his name right? Ease Guillermo, the CEO or head of owner. What? Thank you. They had him go out there, and it almost seemed like he was going to make some big announcement at the end, and he just didn't. He just walked out there. It was like, that's the end of our show. Everyone clap, and then everyone started clapping. Like it was super awkward, and the camera panned up and out, and he's just like looking around. It was almost like, I don't know. It was very strange. Go back and watch it. It's just very odd. It's very odd. But that was the show for Ubisoft Forward. I thought it was fine. I mean, there wasn't anything major announced there technically. It was just updates on a lot of stuff we already knew about. So, which is fine. But 2026. So, applaud. I think that's everything though. I think we got all the topics I wanted to cover tonight. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything on Streamlabs, and I'll go around here. Let's start with Ryan. Where can we find you?
Over on YouTube at Mr. Brian, covering the world of PlayStation every single week. Thanks for having me, John.
And go over to we got the Wii music going too.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you. Let me go over to OJ. Can I find you, sir?
Yeah, find me right here on YouTube, Player Essence. Got some cool stuff coming up. Should have some nice live streams that we're doing. Probably streaming tomorrow as well. A little extra bonus stream because people showing a lot of love. So yeah, I got some cool videos that I did, RPG videos that I did recently on like Final Fantasy 14, potentially coming to Nintendo platform in the future, and more. So if you're into RPGs or Nintendo stuff, that's what I cover on the channel. Thanks for having me as well.
Let me see. Okay, no, here we go. We have a few here. This is from Adam, who says, with remasters, remakes having become the norm, what game would the cast like to see get remade? Off the top of my head, I would love to see Legend of Dragoon, Dino Crisis, and Cold Fear. Keep up the great work. What game would you like to see remade? I wouldn't mind seeing Mega Man Legends get remade. I think that could actually benefit from that. I think it'd be fun.
Kid Icarus Uprising would be super dope. Stuck on the freaking 3DS. Hopefully there's something.
I want a Mario 64 remake.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Huh. Cool.
Modernize that baddie. It's the camera controls really get in the way of that game sometimes.
Hey, play Kid Icarus Uprising and see the camera controls in that game.
Listen, man, I know. There's two bad cameras in the game.
Makes the camera look... Mario 64's camera is incredible. The controls are incredible compared to Kid Icarus.
Jeff Burns says, sad fact about The Sims 1 and 2 is computers are too strong to run them now. The game can't read or understand graphics cards over 4 gigabytes or CPUs over 4 threads. You have to use weird programs that can mess up other games to play them. Wow, I did not realize that.
Yikes.
Jeez. Good reason, I guess, go back and build that old Windows XP machine. I've thought about doing that a few times. Like, get old parts and build like a PC from back then. Liam says, do you think Wind Waker Twilight Princess is coming to Switch? Do you think Switch versions even exist? Will they be in the next Direct? I'm going to say yes.
How many times has this question been asked? That's
I know. It comes up all the time. We just say yes basically to every Direct that it's going to happen until we're right. That's how it works.
It's here. It's time.
Lego Aloy says, any thoughts on the Phil Spencer IGN interviews? Felt like there was enough here for an entire topic. Oh, and him basically saying that more Xbox games are going to PlayStation and other platforms. Yeah, more Xbox games are going to other platforms. Absolutely. Sea of Thieves topped PlayStation's download charts last month. More games are coming. Get ready. I think Microsoft's figured it out.
They don't do slimy console stuff either.
Well, I wouldn't have said that because of the history of just consoles in general. I wouldn't have said that. But
they don't do that. We're not forcing you.
Yeah, I would. Not a great sentence for him, but yeah, I think Microsoft's all in on the idea of moving their games, especially live service titles, to PlayStation. And I wouldn't be shocked if in a few years it's actually a consistent number of Xbox or Microsoft-owned games that are on PlayStation's own like best-selling. And I almost wonder how Sony would feel about that over time, looking around like, oh, they're going to get 30% of it, but still, it's like, oh, there's a lot of Microsoft games up here right now. And Lego Aloy again. Wouldn't it be better to delay Indiana Jones? December games don't typically fare well sales-wise. I still feel like them and LucasArts want it out. Disney, LucasArts. I think they want it out there for the holidays. So Indiana Jones will do well. It's Indiana Jones.
You can launch that game anytime. It's freaking Indiana Jones, you know?
Yep.
And it's a Game Pass game too, so like
that too. And they also wouldn't mind having that to drive sales for the holidays too, just in general. Game Pass subs, Xbox consoles, PC Game Pass subs, whatever. So, did I get Josie?
No.
Josie, where can I find you?
Find me on YouTube at Josie Woe. Thanks for having me on. I have a video out, I think on Wednesday probably, unless there's a Direct. And then maybe it moves, but probably a couple videos next week. And I'm going to try to finish Donkey Kong Country 2 on stream.
You still working on that?
It's taken me like
I feel like you were yelling about that
hours.
like weeks ago.
Yeah, I kind of took well, it's like hard to stream it at the same time I'm streaming all these other things.
Oh, yeah.
And so I kind of took a break, but I'm like on the last few levels. So hopefully beating that at some point this week. I've gotten a little bit more time to stream. So ideally, but thanks for having me on.
Check out Game and Talk as well.
Oh yeah, big time Game and Talk. Go check out that stuff every week over there. It's a good time.
Massive Rican says, "What you mean you don't oh, don't know why they full blown remaking Prince of Persia. The reaction on probably justified it to them. If remaster was all people wanted, they wouldn't have acted like that.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of excitement from fans who do remember that time period in gaming. And
So people were like, "Oh, I want a remake of Prince of Persia." Who was saying? Nobody was saying that. Nobody was saying they want a
when I heard it. It was exciting when I heard it.
Okay. All right. I need to see videos. I need to see video proof of people saying they're begging for Prince of Persia: Sands of Time full.
I have a YouTube short. I'm on my knees. Please give me.
Don't say that, Jesse.
I wouldn't have said
yeah.
that. All right, go ahead.
Oh, ew! You guys suck.
I would not.
No, because people are gonna.
Is that one getting a lot of
that's
views?
getting clipped.
Or?
That is getting clipped.
Yeah,
Someone's
people are gonna clip
one.
that crap.
Fuck.
Go ahead, Evan. We're gonna reply.
Gross.
You can find me on YouTube and Twitter at Kimmerix Project if you're into tabletop games, tactics, stuff like that. I'm trying to get more videos out, but we mostly just stream painting sessions throughout the week at this point because I'm slowly moving over to the new place. It's taking forever.
Oh
It's
yeah,
obnoxious.
that's right. Just about done.
I guess maybe.
That's everyone, right? Yeah, it was everyone. Thanks everyone for joining us. Got everything there? Yep. We will be back next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, hopefully with a Nintendo Direct to look back on. We'll see you guys then.